All right, we should be going live right now. Hey everyone, it's Wilco here, back for day number 2 of the viral hacking event. So for those who haven't been here yesterday, yesterday I did the first session where I'm recording a full course from A to Z live, right? So before I get started, let me just have a look in the chat to see who is here. I saw, first of all, I want to do a shout out to Michael Berger, because he's early from New York and he was the very first to be in the room. So appreciate that, Michael. Let's see who else is in the room. We see Stefan, Noble, Achim from Munich, Ian from Scotland, Rick from Switzerland, Clive from Manchester, Byron from Leeds in the UK. Awesome. Good to see that people are already logging on. Now, just to make sure, who here was already here yesterday as well? So I sort of know how much I need to sort of go over. It will be good to see. There is obviously a bit of a delay, so when I ask something before I see it in the chat, it will take a little bit. But that's obviously totally fine. If I look down, it means I'm looking at the chat. And this is where it's all going to happen. Also, I've got the whiteboard prepared, as you can see, with the beautiful UpViral logo there in the background. And mainly we'll use this camera, because I think it looks a lot nicer. So what we're going to do, like I said, I'm going to go through and I'm going to record various videos for the course. So there will be times where I talk to all of you live, and there will be times where I'm actually recording a video and I won't be asking stuff, or because we are going to edit that as an actual course, right? So when I'm starting a new video for our video editor, I'll make sure I'll do this to make sure he knows, right? That's a new video, so he can actually look for it in this whole recording. And also, if there's something while I'm doing the actual video, but something that's either for you guys or girls or for my editor, because I just wanted to get it to edit it out, or I made a mistake, I'll just do this in between. So that's my sign, this does not go into the actual course. What else? Let me check the chat. Cool, quite a few people who are here today, were you here yesterday as well. Byron wasn't here yesterday, you'll be here. Thanks for joining us today, appreciate it. So yesterday, let me just go through. So yesterday we went through a couple different modules, right? So let me just, right now you should be seeing the webcam just to make it easier. So yesterday, basically the course is going to consist of multiple modules, right? So first of all, we're going to do the viral foundation, the viral secrets, incentive secrets, campaign secrets, email secrets, traffic secrets, and growth secrets, and some bonuses. That's basically how the course is actually structured. Yesterday, we finished the viral foundation, the welcome video, all the videos in the viral foundation, and all the videos in the viral secrets. So that means, how many videos were that? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then right here, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 videos. That's what we did yesterday. And today we are going to focus on the incentive secrets. So what do you actually give as an incentive, and how to make sure you get the right audience attracted into your viral campaigns. But also, how do you get people to share? What could you create, sharing ideas, giving examples, and some stuff like that. And then also some things of actually setting up your campaign, what should go on your lead capture page, on your thank you page. That's what we're going to go into today. And then tomorrow, maybe a couple of videos, maybe also a couple of videos of the email secrets today. And then tomorrow we're going to dive into the main email secrets. In other words, what should go into your actual emails, yeah, all that, everything that I'll give you pre-written emails and all that as well, templates and stuff like that. Traffic secrets, how do you actually generate traffic into your campaign, which can be used to anything, not just your viral campaign, but to anything. You're doing some various, obviously there's 1,000 different ways you can drive traffic, but I'm gonna go into specific ones that I think are good for you guys. And then some growth secrets, that's the last module, where I talk about how to basically take it to the next level, how to actually, some really cool ways of how to turn your viral campaign into profits, and stuff like that, some nitty gritty kind of tricks that didn't really fit in all the other modules. But that's sort of the game plan. Does that sound good? Let me switch back to that camera. Sounds good? Because if so, we are gonna dive in. Cool, Daniel, hey, you're good to see you're back. And for those who were here yesterday, you will see that I'm continuously doing a game, and that is find my mouse, because I got two screens, one here, and every single time I'm searching for it, like where is it here or is it over there? So if you see me search for the mouse, I hope that is cool. And usually people tell me that, you know what, if I watch the video, normally I speed the video up because it's just going too slow. My videos, they usually slow it down a bit because I talk too fast. I am trying not to talk too fast. Let's just put it like that. I know I talk quite fast. What we're going to try to do is, as well, is in the actual course, once we're actually going to, once it's all edited, there are going to be extra materials in there, and there's going to be some extra videos and all that, and that's going to be added into all the accounts of all the yearly UpViral accounts. And we'll also add subtitles as well, because I think that's going to be beneficial to all of you, because I know sometimes I have a bit of an annoying accent here from the Netherlands, so doing everything I can to make sure there's nothing stopping you to get awesome results with UpViral. So let's just get started. Let's just get started and do a quick first video. The first video is actually going to be an easy one. So we're going to dive into the incentive secrets, that's the whole module which talks about what should the incentive be. So for those of you who haven't been here, just to catch up, I'm assuming you sort of know how UpViral works. Basically, it's all about, and obviously you can watch the replay from yesterday as well. It's all about you give an incentive to someone to share the message with others, right? So you say like, hey, awesome. Someone enters their email address. Awesome, thank you. You know what? If you get 3 of your friends to sign up as well, you will get X, Y, or Z. You will get something of value in return. And if they do that, then they get it, right? Or for example, you do a sweepstake, like a contest, like, hey, you can win this thing, right? But the more friends you actually invite and the more friends actually sign up as well, the higher chance you have of winning that thing, the incentive, right? So in this section, we're going to talk all about the incentive. Cool? All right, thanks, Ian. That's good to know. So let's just dive into the first video, which is the introduction for this new module, right? So at the start of every module, I'll start out with an introduction video so people know what's coming, basically. Let me just switch to this screen because I think that will be easier for you guys. How can I switch off? All right, cool. Introduction of the incentive secrets. Welcome to the third module of the Viral Hacking Masterclass. This module is called Incentive Secrets. And in this module, we're going to talk about what to give away as an incentive in order to get people to actually start sharing your campaign. Because obviously, there's things you can do there to make sure that people are basically more inclined to actually have a higher willingness to share your campaign, while also making sure that you get the right people added into your campaign, because what you give away as an incentive is 100% going to decide who is going to join your campaign, right? So in this module, we're going to dive deeper into what this incentive could be, how to create it, some examples, and yeah, let's just dive in. I'll see you in the next video. So as you can see, that was a real short video, just the introduction video. So let me just right away continue. Focusing on that one. Okay, collapse and boom, like that. All right, so I'll continue right away. Contest versus giveaway. When talking about an incentive, one of the first things that's good to realize is the difference between a contest and a giveaway. And yes, I know I've already talked about this earlier in this course, but it's important to touch on this right again. So the main difference is between, sorry for that, I need to get into the hang. I'll just start over, guys, girls, my apologies. Need to, come on, freshen up, Wilco. One of the first things to look at when you're thinking about what to give away as an incentive is what kind of campaign are you actually going to run, whether it's a contest or a giveaway. And the difference between those is how the actual incentive is being delivered, right? Because a contest or a sweepstake, it means that you're going to give away whatever incentive you have only to one or a few people, right? So you would literally say like, hey, there's a chance of winning this thing, and one or maybe a few people are going to win. In other words, someone who's going to join your campaign only has a chance of winning the reward. And because of that, because you are, as the actual campaign owner, you're in control of how many actual, you're going to give away. You can decide, well, I'm only going to give away one. And because of that, you are, you can basically spend more money on that reward, right? It doesn't even matter if it's, for example, a physical product that people would actually get in the mail, because it's not like that all of a sudden you have to send out hundreds or even thousands of these products. Even though, regardless of how many people will join your campaign, you are still giving away one of those prizes, one of those incentives, if you're doing a contest or a sweepstake, right? Because not everyone will receive it. However, on the flip side of that, if you do that, it needs to be more valuable, right? And we're going to dive deeper into that in the next video. But one of the criteria is that people will need to think your actual incentive is valuable, right? If it's not valuable for them, then they're not going to be willing to share for it either, right? And if, let's say, you are having a real small gift that, I don't know, like a super really small, something that's only worth like $10, and they have a chance of winning it, that's not going to really get a big impression. It's not really they're not gonna see the value in it, right? So if you only pick one prize for in a contest or a sweepstake, you'll need to put up a bigger incentive, right? The thing that you're giving away needs to be more valuable. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, you can also do an unlockable reward or a giveaway, and this means that anyone can unlock it, right? There's no chance or there's no luck. It means that you would, for example, say like, hey, if you get 3 of your friends to sign up, then you will get this incentive, right? And anyone who does that, anyone who achieves that, anyone who gets at least 3 of their friends to actually sign up as well, they would get that incentive. And this means that you could send out a lot of these, right? Depending on how successful your campaign is going to be. And because of that, ideally, those are not going to be physical products. Ideally, though, there's not going to be any hard cost, because if every time someone unlocks it, you as the business owner have to spend money on it, that can be like, it's going to be hard to predict how much you are going to have to spend. And that's why if you're doing an unlockable reward or a giveaway, I highly recommend to give something away that's digital. In other words, that you as the business owner, it doesn't really matter whether you're going to give away a 1 or 1,000. There's no extra cost or no crazy additional cost for you as the business owner, right? And that's really important to take these two into account. We'll dive deeper into these differences later on as well. But the most important criteria is like the most important thing to remember is that if you're doing a sweepstake, the thing that you're giving away, it needs to be more valuable, because people know they only have a chance of winning it. While this one, it doesn't have to be as big. You don't have to give away a Ferrari to every person who signs up, obviously, because they know everyone can actually achieve it and can actually unlock it. So with that having said, I'll see you in the next video. All right, that was that video. Let me just check the chat if everything is working well, no issues whatsoever. Hey, Frank or France, depending on how you pronounce your name, from Berlin. Got a couple Germans in the house, always nice. Obviously, we got quite a few Europeans here because of the timing, so thanks for being here, and obviously for lots of people from the other side of the world, well, welcome to the replay, most likely. And while we're at it, I'm just gonna keep on going, right? There's no, let me just, that was me searching for the mouse again. So, all right, so the next video is actually gonna be longer. I'm going to talk about the perfect incentive framework, and there's going to be an even longer video after that. That's creating your incentive, but this is where we go into more of the the good stuff, basically. So let me just switch to my screen again. And actually, let me just, boom. We're just gonna keep on going. There you go. So when you're even thinking about what incentive to go for, what incentive to create, what incentive to give to your audience to use as a bribe to say like, hey, if you share us with all of your friends, you will get X, Y, or Z, or you will have a chance to win X, Y, Z. What do you have to do? What do you have to think about? Well, that's what we're gonna go into in this video. And because in this video, I wanna dive into the perfect incentive framework, because there's some rules that we learned over time that if you follow these rules, it's going to be way easier to get people to actually share. And first of all, I want to dive into the 3 main factors that your incentive should consist of, right? And the first factor is that it has to be exclusive. And what I mean with that is that there shouldn't be an easy alternative to get it, right? Because people will always go for the path of least resistance. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you would give an incentive and people will just know that if they would quickly Google for it, they could get that as well. Then the path of least resistance would be to Google for it and they would have the same thing, right? However, on the flip side of this, and this is a terrible example, but just as an example, let's say you would give away a Ferrari. Then they would know, like there's no possible way they would ever be able to get that Ferrari themselves, most people. So the path of least resistance is to invite their friends, right? And then they will have a chance of actually winning that Ferrari. Obviously, you should never give away a Ferrari. But that's really important, that there's no good alternative. If you give something as a reward, but people know there's just an easy alternative, there's just an easy other like there's an other way to actually get it, right? Then they would go for that, because if it's the only way, if they feel the only way or the easiest way to get that thing is to start sharing, that's when they go for that. I mean, it's the same thing as if you would be selling a certain product to your audience. If you're selling it and they would know like there's an alternative way I can get it without having to pay for it and I would get the exact same end result, they would go there, right? But obviously there are things you can do to make sure they feel it is exclusive. We'll get into that later on as well. That's the first factor. The second factor is that it is socially accepted to talk about it, right? Because if people aren't willing to talk about it in public, then it's going to be difficult to persuade them into doing just that on social media, right? So also another thing to really take into account is, does it actually take into account one of the 4 primary factors why people share that we discussed earlier on in an earlier module? In other words, for someone else, for myself, for us, or for them, right? So whenever you're giving away something, like, would that be something that people would be okay talking about, or would it be super awkward and it's something that people would never ever talk about in public? Because if that is the case, that could be a deal breaker, and even though they may want to have your reward, it may actually stop them from actually sharing it, right? And the third thing that's really important is whether it is valuable, right? So and also, as I mentioned before, the perceived value also depends on the odds of them getting it. If you are doing a sweepstake, right, and let's say they have 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 chance to actually get it, it decreases the value, right? If you have an incentive that is, let's say, worth $100, not that the monetary value matters, but let's say $100. In a giveaway, the $100 value is like, that's a 100% certainty, right? In a sweepstake, $100 values, they think like, oh, well, I have a 1 in 1,000 chance to win $100. That's less valuable, right? Because when I say your incentive has to be valuable, it's not about the monetary value, so don't get confused about that. It's about the perceived value. How valuable is it for them, right? How much do they want to have it? And my rule of thumb is that if you're giving away something, they should be willing to pay for it. Like, if they're not willing to actually pay for it, they're probably not going to share for it, because in a way, sharing it and spreading your word with all of their friends is a method of payment. However, they're not paying you with dollars, but they're paying you with, in a way, social currency, right? They're doing something for you. And if they wouldn't be willing to pay for it, it's going to be like, then it's also going to be hard to convince them to actually share for it, right? So most likely, if you don't feel like you're over delivering, you're probably not giving enough value. And as I said, rule of thumb, if they wouldn't pay for it, they wouldn't share for it as well. Just go back and let me just zoom out. This is not part of the video. So to summarize, whatever your reward you have should be exclusive. Like the easiest way to get it is by unlocking it in your campaign or by winning it in your sweepstake. It has to be socially accepted. You know, it should be okay to talk about it and share it in public. And thirdly, it should be valuable to them. It should be something that they want to actually get. They want to have it because that's obviously the motivation to get them to actually share. Now, when doing that, there's something else that you need to take into account, and that is whether it actually attracts the right audience. So for example, I could run a sweepstake in which I would give away an iPad, right? And a lot of people would want to have an iPad, but who is that going to attract? Well, everyone who wants an iPad. And unless I'm actually selling iPads or in the business of iPads, you know, that's not going to work because a lot of people want iPads. So I'm going to get a very untargeted list of people. And as I mentioned before, we should always start with the end in mind. So you should know who you want to target, and that's the starting point where we should start off with, right? So because the goal isn't to go viral, but it's to grow your business, right? So whatever we give away as the incentive is going to also decide who is going to join our campaign. And later on, I'll dive a little bit deeper into that as well. But that's really, really important because whatever you're giving away decides who is going to join. So, that's the overall framework. It has to be exclusive, socially accepted, and valuable. Plus, it should be something that attracts the right audience, which we're going to go into in one of the next videos. Talk to you soon. All right, that was that video. We're going to go into an even longer one next, actually. Did this make sense? Sometimes I talk too fast, even for my own liking. Did this make sense? Did it make sense? Let me know in the chat. Let me just check the chat right now while I'm taking a sip of water and I'm searching for a mouse. Cool. Haha, Kim from Belgium. Hey neighbor, good to see you. And obviously, people who've been following me for a while, you've probably seen this before, these three factors. Because the whole course that we're doing, I've recorded a short version of this course earlier on. This course in full is going to be like 3 times as more in depth, roughly. But also there's an overlap. So if you're seeing anything that you've already seen or heard from me before, that's okay. But it's all going to be wrapped into a lot of new stuff as well. Cool, perfect sense, awesome. Ian and David, appreciate it. So with that having said, let me just go over to the right place again. Zoom out. Yeah. This should be creating your incentive. Let me just fix that right here. Like that. Just making some changes on the fly. All right, creating your incentive. Boom, let's do it. Let me just switch to the other screen so you can actually see for those who are watching live. Cool. Now that we sort of covered what your incentive should actually be, like what rules should you actually follow, I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and talk about, hold on, there's an airplane right above us and it's making an annoying noise. I'm not sure if the microphone picks it up, but I just wanted to make sure that it's not in the actual video for the course. Quality is important, people, or at least I like to believe that. So, all right, it's gone. Cool, sorry for that. Fortunately, it started in the beginning of the video. Cool. All right, so now that we've covered the overview, So now that we covered the framework of what rules to follow when creating an incentive, I wanted to dive deeper into creating your incentive, right? So later on in this module, we're going to dive a little bit deeper in some things that you should do or not do. But right now, I wanted to dive into like the steps to take if you want to come up or create an incentive, right? And the very first thing you should do, step one, is to decide on a contest versus a giveaway. I've already talked about that earlier in this module because obviously that's gonna have a major impact on what the actual incentive will actually be, right? Can only one person get it, or can anyone unlock it? Now, step number two is to get clear on your avatar, right? The ideal person you want to attract. Now, if you're not fully clear on that yet, I highly recommend you to go back to one of the previous modules and go back and get clear on who you want to attract, who it is you want to reach, because if you don't really know that, it's going to be trickier to come up with something that will also work for them, to come up with something that they will want to have, that is valuable to your avatar, to your customer, to your ideal customer, right? So once you have that visualized and you know who you want to get into your business, I always recommend to check your existing materials, right? So do you already have something that your target audience wants? Because obviously we can go and be all excited and create something new from scratch and all that, but the reality is that there's a good chance that you already have something that you can leverage for this, but you just don't realize it yet. And why would we reinvent the wheel if we can just try out something really, really quick, especially if this is your first time using UpViral, right? You want to make sure that you get something up going so you can get some lessons from it instead of just spending a lot of time creating a new incentive from scratch. Now, if you don't have anything yet, I totally get it. That's when you'll have to create an incentive, but there is a good chance that maybe you will have something that you can actually leverage. So for example, if you're doing a contest, a good thing you can do is actually give away your existing product. Like if you would have an e-commerce web shop, for example, you could literally give away one of your products, right? Which is obviously only doable if you're doing a contest, because otherwise anyone would get a free product. But that's a real low barrier way of actually using one of your existing products without having to spend time on something new, without having to come up with something creative. And if you're selling multiple products, I would definitely go with your most popular one, because if it's most popular, then most likely that is because people want it, right? So that's going to be most usable for your campaign as well. And if you're doing a giveaway, for example, you can ask. And if you're doing a giveaway, for example, have a look and ask yourself, like, do you have any digital products in the past? Have you created an ebook or a specific training? Or do you have any lead magnets that have been really, really successful? Because maybe you can leverage that into your viral campaign. Or do you sell something? Because if you do sell something, you could also give away a discount coupon to everyone who unlocks it as well. So that could be something that is really like low key, like easy to create, easy to repurpose, instead of having to create something from scratch. And especially if it's your very first campaign, I always recommend to just go with something that you can try out relatively easy, get some lessons for it, get some initial leads going, and then after that you can do another one and you can actually do better. But initially I'm always a fan of like go fast. As I mentioned before, imperfect action beats perfect inaction, right? So that's definitely step number 3, to check your existing materials, see if you already have something that you can leverage. Now, and if not, and if you don't have anything that you can leverage, what is something that your target audience really wants to have, right? And this really comes down to understanding your target audience, understanding what their needs are, what their problems are, because as a business owner, you probably have ideas of like, oh, I can create this product, I can sell them this, you have all these ideas. And here's a takeaway. If you have an idea of something that you could sell to them, you can use that thing, you can create a thing, and instead of selling it to them, you can use that as the incentive to actually grow your audience, right? So that's a good starting point as well. So obviously you want to understand what your audience actually wants, what your customer actually wants. And in case you don't know that, questions to answer are like, what are your customers asking? Like if you go to your Facebook group, if you go to your support desk, if you look online, like what are people asking for, right? And what's the problem that your audience has? Like how can how can you actually fix their problem? And what could you sell to your audience that they'd spend $100 on? Like if there's something that you feel you can create and that you think this would, if I would package this, right, this thing, people would want to spend $100 to get it, right? Because if they would spend $100 to get it, they definitely will also share for it as well. So some examples, and later in one of the next videos, I'll dive into more examples as well to make it more concrete. But for example, this could be an event ticket, it could be a training video, it could be a customized item, like a limited edition merchandise. It could be a discount coupon or gift certificate. It could be a piece of software or an ebook, or as I mentioned, your actual product, if that is obviously doable, or if it's a digital product without additional hard costs, right? And as I mentioned before, if you're running a sweepstake, pick something that's more valuable. In that case, you can actually give away a product, or you can give away something physical with cost, because you only have to pay it once, right? So that's gonna be okay. And if you're running a giveaway, in other words, everyone can unlock it, pick something without additional cost, as mentioned before. Now, even though all of this, even though if you would create your incentive like this, right, you would come up with something that you can give away, then still that incentive itself isn't really the most important thing. It's very, very, very important, but what's equally important is how you position it. How do you explain it to your audience? And I was going to include it in this video, but I decided it would be better to create a separate video about that. So for step 5, I'll see you in the next video. All right, that was this video, and as you just listened in the actual video, I split this one up into separate videos, so I'm going to dive right into that video, and then I'll check the chat again. Hopefully that is okay. So positioning your incentive. So as mentioned in the last video, once you've created your incentive, or maybe you are repurposing something that you already have in your business, then the next thing to do is to position your incentive, because you can create an incentive, but if you explain it poorly, then still nobody's going to want to have it, right? So the positioning is very, very important. And this obviously is marketing 101. The same goes for if you are trying to sell a product or sell a service. You could have the same product or the same service, while one person, they would not be able to sell any of it, while another person, they describe it in a certain way and everyone wants to have it. Right? A good classic example is the 4-Hour Workweek from Tim Ferriss. Like, a lot of people wrote books about working less or outsourcing, and like Outsourcing 101, whatever, a lot of books, and nobody really hit the jackpot with that. And then Tim Ferriss wrote the 4-Hour Workweek, the same exact concept. He just explained it differently. He used different words, and all of a sudden it was a mega success. And that's obviously a completely different example from what we're doing right here, but the exact same fundamentals apply. It's all about how you position it, how you explain that thing that you're giving away to your audience. How do you explain it? What words do you use? And that's what I want to go into in this video. And a good example of that is one of my viral campaigns that I ran earlier on. What I was doing, it's called Tweet Lead. You'll find it in the case studies section of this course. And what I did is I created a split test on the thank you page. So after people entered their email address at random, 50% of people would see one thank you page and 50% of people would see the other, right? So the people, the first 50% would see a message that said 1 free lifetime access to Tweet Lead, right? Which was a tool that we had created. And the other 50%, and they would all get the exact same incentive, right? They would get the exact same thing. The only difference was that I explained it differently. The second group want to skip waiting and get instant free access. And this second group, people who saw this message, shared 105% more. So I got more than double the amount of people to actually share that message on social media, simply because it was a different language. There was different words to use. And that's just to show you how impactful it is, that if you it's not often about the actual incentive. It is partially, but it's also about how you actually explain it, because that will decide how much people actually want to have it. And if they really, really want to have it, they're going to want to share for it as well. So how do we increase the perceived value of an incentive? Now, there's something that... So how do we increase the perceived value of an incentive? Here are some examples, right? So basic examples. So for example, if you will have a monthly subscription in your business, right? And you're selling something monthly, like a newsletter or maybe a piece of software or something. And the only way people can get it is by paying a monthly or maybe a yearly subscription. Now, let's say you would then do a sweepstake, something where people can win. And you would give away, as in the sweepstake, a lifetime account to your subscription. Lifetime. They would never have to renew again. That is something very exclusive, right? No one else can get it, right? And because of that, it feels way more valuable, because the only way to get it is by sharing and actually winning it, which once again makes it, it would be the way of, which once again would be the way of least resistance in order to get this, right? Another example, let's say you are giving away a book, right? You have a book. How do you increase the value of a book? Well, what you could do is sign it as the autograph. Now, sorry for that. Well, what you could do is actually sign it. So now it's not just a book, but it's actually signed by the author. Or you could even bundle it together with something extra, like a handwritten note, or maybe even a one-on-one meet and greet session with the author as well. Right? These are things you can do to immediately increase the perceived value of the thing that you're giving away. Or give away a special experience, right? Something that just isn't able to get anywhere else. Like, I don't know, let's say you have a restaurant. You can actually get people to come into the restaurant and have an experience with their family, like they can have a walk around in the kitchen and do something that nobody else would get, like a behind the scenes VIP tour, something like that. Again, super unique, and nobody else can actually get it, right? Or make clear that a limited amount of items are actually available, right? Making it more exclusive, right? If you have, for example, you're selling shoes and you have like a limited edition version that nobody else can actually get, right away there's a higher perceived value of that thing you're giving away. So these are just some examples of how with small tweaks you can actually make your incentive way more valuable. And as I mentioned before in the split test that I showed before, is the one that actually won, even though the first one said 1 free lifetime access, that may seem like a really good thing, right? But the second one said 1 to skip waiting and get instant free access, and that makes it more exclusive. Like, hey, if I share this right now, I'm beating everyone else who is waiting in line, and that makes me feel better, right? In the end of the day, we all want to feel better. So if they have the feeling they can get something that no one else actually can get, they're going to be way more inclined to actually start sharing for it, right? So how do you actually describe it in a compelling way? First of all, you want to make sure that you focus on what it will do for them. Because you probably know, let me just make sure it's all visible for you guys who are watching live. Cool. Like that. You've probably heard the saying, people don't want the drill, they want a hole in the wall. And that's absolutely true. And even though a lot of people have heard that saying, a lot of people are still describing their product or their incentives within a viral campaign as like the thing that they get. However, you should be talking about the result it will actually give your audience, right? So don't focus too much on the medium, but what it actually means. So for example, don't just say like, hey, you will get our latest ebook about traffic, right? Say something like, hey, you will discover our 5 best performing traffic strategies. Right now, it's like it's already like, it's our 5 best performing. Like it's more about, this is how you actually get more traffic, or learn how to get more traffic with our 5 best performing traffic strategies. That's way more compelling than just saying like, hey, you'll get our latest traffic ebook, right? Just as a basic example. Another way to make it more compelling is to make it yours. Because remember, in one of the 3 factors I said, like, you need to make it unique. It needs to be the only place to get it, or at least the easiest way to get it. And obviously online these days, there's a lot of things that you can get anywhere else, right? So how do you make sure that the only way to get it is through sharing? Well, that's by making sure it is yours. Because no one else can be you, right? So same example, like if you say you will get 5 traffic strategies, that's, you know, lame in a way. Like everyone can sort of get that somewhere else, right? But if you say you will get my 5 best performing strategies, just as a basic example, indicating that it's yours, like I've discovered this and this and you will get that. As soon as you make it about your experience or something that you've invented, or for example, if you have created a certain step-by-step formula to do something, instead of just saying like, hey, we'll show you how to, I don't know, how to make your cat live longer, right? You should say like, we have to, like, make sure that you have a unique way that no one else actually knows about, right? And that's what they're gonna get. And that way it's gonna feel like, hey, you know, these guys or this person or this campaign, they found a certain way that other people haven't talked about, or like I cannot really find online. So, but I want to know what it is. So the only way to get that is to actually share. And a better way to do that is to put a name on it, right? And so for example, you can say like, hey, you will see how we generated, I don't know, 42,000 leads in 30 days, right? But instead of doing that, you can actually, because still, like, why is that unique to you? You can actually put your own name to that. You will see how we generated 42,000 leads in 30 days using the WTS method. And people are gonna be like, what's the WTS method? And they can look for it, they can Google for it, but guess what? They're not gonna find it because you came up with that name, right? You put a name onto your process. Does that mean you should just copy something online and put your name on it? Definitely not. That's not my point. But if you have something in your business that you could give away, and if you put your own name on it, it immediately makes it unique, right? And this is just a random example. Obviously, WTS is the willingness to share method. That's just a quick example that I wanted to put here. But it's really like if you put a name on whatever you're giving away, your own unique name, you give it a name, right away it feels more unique, and there's no other way to get it because you invented that name, and the only way to give it to them is you, right? So that's an example, another example of how you can make your incentive more compelling by using different words, even though they get the exact same thing. And as I mentioned before, a really powerful one is to make it more exclusive, right? Make clear that it's not for everyone. This is only for the selected few. And this one is, like I said, a very powerful. All these others, they're nice and all good, but if people feel like they're like better off than someone else because they get exclusive access and they're the only ones who actually get this, that's a big boost in motivation to actually start sharing, because people want to feel better, people want to be better off, but people want to have the exclusive access that other people don't have, right? So this is really what I wanted to share in this video, to make clear that it's not just about coming up with something to give away. It's equally important to think about how are you going to communicate that to your audience? How are you going to make sure that they want to have it? And in a way, it's the exact same thing you need to do as if you are selling something. Because if you are selling your service or product, you are not just going to say like, hey, I got a video course, click here to buy. No, you are going to talk about the results it will do for them. You are going to talk about social proof, like what results you generated for your clients. You are doing everything you can to make sure they want to have, and it's the same thing you need to do right here. You are going to have to sell your incentive to them. Does that mean it should be super salesy and slick? That's not the point. You should be in balance there, but they should, after reading your message on the thank you page, they should be convinced that they want to have that incentive as well. Because if they really want to have that incentive and they know there's no other way to get it, guess what they're going to do? They're going to start sharing your message with all of their friends. And I know this may seem like a lot of work, but once you've done it once or twice, it will get better every single time. It will get easier every single time. So don't sweat it too much. But I did find it important to cover that right now first. So in the next video, I'll give you some more examples as well. Whew. So in the next video, like I said, this is the end of the video, by the way, I'm going to give some more concrete examples because I think people will appreciate that, of what you could actually give away. While doing that, let me just look at the chat. Let's see, where's my mouse? Kim is asking whether I also do one-on-ones. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't do one-on-ones. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them right now in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. Let me just go back to that screen right now. I'm happy to answer any questions right here, obviously, but at the moment, I'm unfortunately not available for one-on-ones. Sorry for that. Annabeth, say hi to the kids. Cheers. Hey Glenn from Devon. Hey Jim. Awesome. Let's just keep going. Back to that screen so you can actually see what I have on my screen. The incentive ideas. I gathered some ideas to make it more concrete. And that's what I'm gonna go do. The incentive ideas of the incentive secret, right? Let's do it. By now you must be thinking like, oh Wilco, please give me some examples. And that's what we're gonna do in this video, right? So far in this module, we talked about the perfect incentive framework, like what are the rules your incentive should follow, right? As well as how to actually come up with your incentive. Like we talked about maybe repurposing one of your existing materials or use your existing product, or creating something new that your audience really wants to have. And then after that, we talked about actually how to position and how to make sure people really want to have it, right? But right now, I'm guessing that you want to have some examples as well to get some ideas flowing of what that could be, because so far you may be thinking all over the place, what would actually work well, right? So that's why in this video, I wanted to go through some examples. And first of all, let's say you do a sweepstake. Let's say you are going to do a campaign in UpViral, which is focused in, targeted at, in which you are going to give away one prize or maybe a few to all your people, right? So in other words, they have a chance of winning in that sweepstakes. So first one is definitely your product, right? You could give away your own product. For example, the Groove Weather Sports case study did that as well. You'll find that case study in the case study section. And what they did is they gave their own product away, right? And while doing that, they didn't just say like, hey, here's a vest and you can actually get it. They also made sure that people really wanted to have it, right? And that goes back to what we discussed in the last video, because they didn't just say the vest, but they said a lightweight vest, heavyweight sound, and cloud-like comfort, right? So they really sold the product, right? They really made sure that people want to have it, and that's very important. And the reason why giving away your product works well is because if you're giving away your product, right, and if you make it really clear that they're gonna get your product, like they can win your product, then guess who is gonna actually opt in and join your campaign? People who are interested in your product. Like if they wouldn't be interested, they wouldn't join as well, right? So now you have a list of people that are interested in your product, right? And they can actually win. And one person is obviously gonna win, but guess what? To all these other people, you can then market. You can then send them messages like, hey, you didn't win, but you know what? Here's the discount coupon. So in a way, you're still a winner. You can still get access to it. And we'll get more into those things at the email section as well later on in this course. But if you're doing a sweepstake and you have some kind of a product, for example, in a B2C niche, in a B2C market, you could give away your existing product in a sweepstake. Another thing you can do is actually do a customized gift. Another thing you can give away. Another thing you can use when doing a sweepstake is a customized gift, right? So your product, but customized, again, making it more special. And I already mentioned that earlier on. For example, a book which is signed by you, but also a meet and greet with the author, right? Because a book is a book, But if you imagine, if you also get a meet and greet with the author, or maybe even dinner with the author, and it's been signed, it makes you feel special, and you're going to be way more inclined for it to actually go for that and win that experience compared to just reading a book, right? So that's another example of what you can do. And obviously it's not about the book, it's about customizing your existing product. Like, what could you do? What could you customize? What could you add to it? What could you improve on it to make sure it is way more valuable? Like it has a higher perceived value, right? Also, a VIP experience works really well, right? So for example, I mentioned this, if you are a restaurant owner, for example, you could create a VIP BR chef experience, right? Where the kids can actually come in and they can cook and all that. Is that something that you can give to your kids normally? Like, no. There's no restaurant who can actually do that, right? Like, they're not going to allow you to do that. So by offering a VIP experience that nobody else could actually get, it makes it really, really powerful, right? Again, just an example, right? Another example is obviously an event ticket as well. And the reason why I put these here for the sweepstake is because these things are not as scalable, right? So you don't want to give this away to everyone when doing a giveaway, right? Anyone who unlocks it. However, the other way around does work. So anything that we have at the giveaway, you could also use for a sweepstake, obviously, as long as the value is really there. I hope that makes sense. So these are just some ideas of what you could give away in a sweepstake. If you're doing a giveaway, as mentioned before, one of the things you can do is a discount coupon. Now, when doing that, it's really important to really think about how it's being positioned, right? Because let's say you are giving away a $50 coupon code for your web shop, and you don't explain what you're actually selling, you don't explain what that actually is, then it's not going to be of any value. As I mentioned earlier in the course, if you are offering a $50 discount coupon for a shop, yippee yappee you, or whatever it's called, and people don't see that and they're like, what is yippee yappee you? They have no clue. And because of that, there's zero value for that, right? But if you would actually say like, hey, we've got, just like the vest that I showed you before from the case study, if we're selling this amazing vest with like speakers in it and all that, and that people are convinced by it, and just join this campaign, and then you will get a $50 coupon code, then it will actually be valuable, right? So if you do a discount coupon, you need to make sure to communicate clearly what the coupon is for and why they actually want to have that product. So in this case, it's less about the actual coupon, it's more about the actual thing that they're going to get from it, right? Because if you just say like, hey, a $50 coupon, the only people who are going to get that and really share for that are people who are already familiar with your shop or with your business or with your product, right? Because those people, they're like, oh yes, I want to have a coupon, so I'll share. And guess what's going to happen? Their friends, they have no clue. And because of that, their friends are like, and they don't opt in, or even if they do, they don't really share, right? So it's really important to communicate the end product, like what are they actually getting or able to get. So that's one idea. Training, right? Give them additional training. One example is that you can check out is the Connect Leads case study. What I did in that case study is I created a video in which I shared a tip, a suggestion, a trick inside Facebook ads. And because of that, a lot of people started sharing because they wanted to know the trick. Well, guess what? Did I just say like, hey, I've got a fourth video, share it? No, of course not. I actually talked about the results. I told people like, hey, I found out this thing on Facebook ads, right? And if you do it like this and this, you're gonna get X, Y, or Z results. Works amazing. You know what? If you wanna get it, share with your friends, and that's how you're gonna get it, right? And because of that, because I sold them on the idea of that they wanted to have that result as well, that's when people started sharing. So training, digital training, like for example in a video format, can work really, really well as well. Again, check out the Connect Leads case study in the dashboard of this course as well. A third good one is early access, right? So before you launch anything, right? Before you launch a new product or a new business or just a new project, give people early access using a viral waiting list, right? So what you would say, like if you have something planned, again, this could be anything inside your business, but you're like, hey, you know, people are gonna love this, but before I give it to the mass public, before I even put it out there, I'm gonna create a viral campaign, and only those who invite their friends, they're gonna get early access, right? And because of that, it's special, it's exclusive. They're gonna be the first ones to get it. And then once the whole campaign is over, then 1 or 2 months later, that's when you can release it to the market. But this way, you get your most loyal people to start sharing and to start inviting their friends while you build up your email list and you build up basically a pre-launch list, so that once you're actually ready to launch it to the public, you have an email list that you can send it out to, because those people are going to be interested in the thing that you are going to give away. So give them early access of the things that you already are planning to create in your business is always a really good strategy as an incentive in a giveaway as well. And obviously, you can also give away an ebook. And a good example of that is what you can find in the Niklas Kuzmic's case study. What he did is he also gave away an ebook. And on top of that, he actually added an additional course on it as well. Again, he packaged it, bundled the ebook together with more training in order to make it more valuable. And people started to share because of that. You can also give away, if you have the resources, you can also give away a tool or a piece of software. A good example of that is the Tweet Lead case study that you'll find in the case study section as well. The next one is a slightly trickier to explain, which is called internal currency. And this means that you're giving them extra benefits inside your business in whatever currency you have. And the best way to explain that is with Dropbox. So what makes your Dropbox account valuable? Dropbox is an online cloud-based storage space. And the more space you have in there, the more valuable it is, the more useful it is, right? So what they did, they gave extra storage space when you invited your friends over, right? So in other words, that was their internal currency. They gave them extra perks, extra benefits inside their product. And this could be anything, right? It could be that if you have a membership, for example, people will get like more rights inside your membership. They will get another icon. They will get access to an additional sections of your membership, but something inside your business or tool or platform or dashboard or whatever you have that will make them feel, basically it makes it more valuable to them. I know this one is a bit more out there, but it's good for those who have a business that will fit into that. Obviously, what you can also do is company swag. And this one actually goes against what I said earlier, right? Because in general, if you do a giveaway, it means anyone can unlock it. You don't want to give away things that are costing you money every single time. And the one exception I see personally is if you give something away that will actually turn people into loyal advocates for your business. And I feel that swag, like a t-shirt or something like that, is actually something that will get people to really become close with your business. So yes, there will be additional cost to you, but if someone is willing to share, right, and share and go through the trouble of inviting their friends over and doing all that work just to get a shirt from UpViral, for example, then I know that they are going to be very passionate about what we do, right? And it's worth it to spend a couple of dollars on a t-shirt just to make sure that they're happy and they're going to be loyal customers long term. Plus, they've helped spread the word for our business at the same time. So it's really a win-win. So that's another good thing you can do as well. And another idea that you can do is access to a private community, right? So again, people want to feel special. So what you could give away is like, hey, if you share this with your friends, if you get 3 of your friends to actually sign up, you're going to be invited in our special community. And again, just like before, you don't just want to say special community. You want to talk about the things they're going to learn, the things they're going to be able to do once they're inside that community. And this could be anything depending on what business you're in. Like if you are, for example, I don't know, a consultant for Facebook Messenger, right? You're really good to set up Facebook Messenger and you do that for other businesses, right? Then you can actually invite them into the special community where you're gonna do a weekly training, like on the latest tricks, and you will show them how to get X, Y, or Z results using Facebook Messenger, right? And because it's a part of a community, they feel like they want to be part of it, right? Because then imagine what's going to happen, that someone else is going to be part of it, but they're not, right? They feel left out. And if it's one thing that people don't want to have, is they don't want to feel left out. So access to a private community is a good idea as well. So let me just change this. So there you have it. These are some ideas of what you could create as an incentive. You could give away a product, a customized gift, a VIP experience, event tickets, a discount coupon to your product, training, early access to something, an ebook, a tool or software, some internal currency inside your business, company swag, or for example, access to a private community, right? And nothing is set in stone. It doesn't have to be on this list, but these are some ideas and things that we've seen work really, really well for other customers, things that people really want to get into. And also it depends on what is easy to create for you. If any of those things stand out to you where you think like, hey, this fits my business, right? Because sometimes one thing fits one business and another thing doesn't fit the other one. Let's say I would sell watches, right? Like I could give away my product, but it wouldn't really make sense to give away a training about, how to read my watch, right? It really depends on who you want to target, what business you're in. And that's why I want to share all of these so you have some inspiration to get started. All right, that was that video. How was it? Is it all good? Still able to follow everything? Let me see, where's my mouse? Ben, we have a film release in Australia that we are releasing with UpViral. Feel free to ask any questions right here. Like I usually don't do one-on-one, but also if you want to have feedback on your campaign, I see that a lot of people do that inside our Facebook UpViral group. A lot of people post there. We got some amazing people in there as well who then give all kinds of feedback. So that's always good as well. Jim is asking, I have an app similar to Uber. How do I use UpViral for that? Good question. So like I'm assuming a mobile app, right? So to answer that, let me just real quick grab the whiteboard just to make it easier. So let's say, like, I'm not sure if you used UpViral already or not. Let me just switch to this screen. Makes it easier. Cool. So obviously UpViral starts with, collecting the email address, right? Hopefully you can see it. Let me just move a bit closer. Collecting the email address, only lead capture, and then they go to the share page where there's their unique link and they can share that, boom. What you can also do on this page, right, is add what's called custom actions. I'll show that later on in the course as well, where you can incentivize any kind of behavior, right? So you can, for example, incentivize people to install your app. So what's going to happen is people opt in first here, right? And this could be like an early bird list, or maybe you have some other good incentive that people want to have. Get people to enter the email address, go here, they get incentivized to share it as well as install the app, because you can then say like, hey, every single time someone of your friends signs up as well, you will get a certain amount of points. However, if you install the app, you get immediately like 3 points extra, boom, right? Or 5 points or whatever. So then it's a real clear like, I need to install the app as well. And obviously from this, you're gonna get the email addresses as well. So that's really like, this is where the biggest opportunities are, because from email, you can then engage with and build a relationship, like say like, hey, talk about the benefits of your app, why it's better than Uber, and get people to install the app from there. So I hope that sort of explains. I figured to map that out quickly on the whiteboard. Ooh, I'm already getting thirsty. Let me just get a sip of water again, and then we'll just keep on going for the next video. Photo focus, yeah, I wasn't sharp. Now I'm sharp again. Cool. Cool. Awesome to hear, Ian. Appreciate that. Danielle, how easy is it to set up multiple rewards? That's actually really easy. Right now I cannot share it on my screen because I cannot stream live and show my screen. My laptop crashes when I do that. But you can just add a reward. You click add reward and select the name and how many points to unlock, and you save it. And then you just click again on add a reward, and you can say the first one maybe 1 point, the next one maybe 10 points. So you can just add additional rewards. In terms of set up a store where they can spend points, that is not something we do, right? So it's not like they can spend the points, but it's like as soon as they have that amount of points, they would that reward would be unlocked. So if you say like, hey, reward X, they need to have 10 points for that. As soon as someone has 10 points, then boom, they would get an email saying, hey, you unlocked the reward, congratulations. Hopefully that explains it. Hey Wilco, I'm GR. Any plans to integrate UpViral so it can be fully used on Wix website so that the share page doesn't need to be on the same campaign URL page in order to work? I have to check that, to be honest, because last time I checked, Wix is very strict on, like, you cannot really add HTML code on there. Like, maybe it's changed right now, but last time I checked, which is quite a while ago, I wasn't able to add any HTML code. And right now, the way UpViral works, you need to copy paste some HTML code if you really want to integrate it into your site. And pretty much any website builder out there does that, except for Wix for some reason. So maybe they've changed that. If so, let me know and I can check with my team and dive into it again. Because Wix is, oh, Stefan is asking, is this really GDPR compliant? Yes, it's fully GDPR compliant. If you want to get more info on that, go to, let me just type in the URL as well, upviral.com/GDPR. Obviously, we're from the Netherlands, which means we're in Europe as well. So obviously, we need to be fully 100% compliant. And we also have an area where even, like, if any of your subscribers who's joining your UpViral campaign, they want to be forgotten, right? They want to be deleted completely from the database. They can just do that themselves, and they're gone, right? Or obviously they can contact you, but we want to make it as hands-off as possible, so anyone can be forgotten simply as well. Cool. Let's see. I'm just looking at my screen. Let me just put it here again. Ta-dam, ta-dam, ta-dam. I think like that. Let's put it slightly more to the side. The whiteboard is still on the screen. Let me remove that quickly. I think I need to put it like that, right? Cool. Let's dive in. All right, so we're at the incentive secret. So far we've done the introduction, the contest versus giveaway, the perfect incentive framework, they're creating your incentive, positioning your incentive ideas. And now I want to go into some common mistakes. So let's do it. Over the last couple of years, I've seen a lot of customers create UpViral campaigns, and some were mega successful and some not so much, because that's obviously what's happening, right? Like, obviously, it's not like every campaign is going to be a mega hit. You're going to have to learn some lessons, you're going to have to adjust, and a lot of it is really marketing, right? A lot of it is really the words you put on the page. It's really about, you know, how you communicate things to your audience. And over time, I've seen quite a few things that I'm like, hey, yes, that could actually have been improved. And over time, I really realized that there's some certain like common mistakes that I see people making. And that's why in this video, I wanted to dive into some of these common mistakes to make sure you can actually prevent them, right? And one of the first common mistakes I see is that people are giving away cash prizes. So they would literally say something like, hey, you know, you can win $100. And that is the worst thing you can do, because what's going to happen is that anyone is interested in free money, anyone. So that means that even if it would actually go viral, even though if you would actually get a lot of people to sign up, it is going to be completely useless for your business, right? Because you get a lot of leads, but you're not getting any clients, because all those people, they're not actually interested in the product or service or business that you have and that you're trying to promote. So never give away just a cash prize, right? Also, a common issue I see is people giving away too general rewards. So for example, they're giving away an iPad or an Amazon voucher. Again, the same thing. People who are interested in an iPad or in an Amazon voucher, those are anyone. Like, anyone is interested in an Amazon voucher, because Amazon sells pretty much everything, right? So again, those people, you know, it may be going viral, it may be that a lot of people are sharing, but it doesn't mean that those people are actually interested in your business, right? Also, a third one, a common mistake that I see is that the actual reward isn't valuable enough, right? They give away a PDF, a simple one-page PDF, and they describe it in a way that's like, I probably wouldn't even opt in for it, let alone go to the struggle and pain to share it with my friends, right? If I want to share it with my friends, I really need to have it, right? So if it's not valuable enough, or for example, if you're doing a sweepstake and you're giving away a small, I don't know, like a $5 item, and I've got a chance to win it, hoo-hoo, right? That's not gonna work, right? It needs to be valuable enough. And I know this is not something you're gonna do right away, right? But I've seen some of our biggest campaigns, some of our biggest success campaigns from our customers, that those were the actual sweepstakes where they gave something away that was actually very crazy valuable, right? Like $3,000 price, for example, like value tag. And that's something that's not easy to do. That's not something that everyone would do in their first sweepstake. I totally get that. But over time, once you get more comfortable with it, right, you will see that having a price like that is going to be worth it if you set it up correctly. Like, it's going to be crazy worth it, because that's when people start going crazy and start sharing with all of their friends. Right? A fourth common mistake I see is that whatever reward you have is not exclusive enough. It's just like a general thing. And again, this really comes down to positioning, right? How can you, whatever you're giving away, how can you make it feel more exclusive? How can you make it feel that it's really a special thing that they're going to be able to get it, right? Because if it's just anything that they can get somewhere else as well, or like it's not really exclusive, it's not, they don't really have the motivation. So ask yourself, how can I make it more exclusive, right? A fifth one is if it seems too commercial, right? Because if it is something that's valuable to them, but if they really feel it's so commercial, it's so salesy, it's so in your face, that it's sort of like, do I really want to share this with my friends? So you still want to make sure that it's, you know, it's not too commercial. And what I mean with that is not, like, you probably notice this as well, right? Sometimes you see a page and it just, I don't know, just too salesy, right? And if it's too salesy, too businessy, then it's harder to actually share. So make it human. And one powerful way to do that is just to be human. Like, write a short story, explain what it is, explain who you are. And you can do this on the bottom of your page, for example. We'll get into that later on, obviously, in the next section of this course. But if something seems too commercial, then people are not less willing to actually share, right? And the final common made mistakes that I see made a lot is if people don't communicate clearly what the reward, what the incentive will actually do for them. And that's what I mentioned before. People want the hole in the wall. They don't want the drill. An example of that I mentioned before is like if you were saying like, hey, you're gonna get a $50 coupon code. Obviously, that on itself isn't useful because they don't even know what it is for, right? So you need to make clear that whatever the incentive is, that your audience will understand, like, yes, this is what it does for me, this is why I wanna have it, right? Really communicate clearly what it will do for them. And there's some things you can do as a check after you've created your reward, right? Or while you're creating your reward. So some questions to ask yourself to make sure that you're going in the right direction and you're creating something that's gonna work, right? And the first question is, does this attract the right audience, right? So if you would give away, like you're planning to give away an iPad, and then you're asking like, does this actually get me the right audience? No, clearly not, right? Like whoever is interested in that thing, they need to be your perfect audience, right? Secondly, is it actually exclusive? Does it feel exclusive, right? Or is it something that they can get anywhere else as well? And if it is, can you make it exclusive? Could you maybe customize it? Could you add something on top of it? Could you describe it in a different way to make it feel more exclusive, right? Is it socially accepted, right? If you were gonna give an adult toy, like 18+ sex toy or whatever, like, are people gonna share that on their Facebook timeline? My guess is they're not going to do that, right? So ask yourself, is it actually socially accepted? Next one, is it actually valuable? Like, would people be willing to pay for it to get it? If not, if you feel like, well, it's nice, but people don't really want to pay for it, like it's not that good, then ask yourself, like, what can you do to make sure you have something that people would pay for it? Like, and that definitely, you know, takes some time to think about. It definitely takes some time to come up with something that, like, you know, my target audience would want to pay for this, right? But once you're at that point, then you know it is valuable, right? And you know they're going to be willing to share for it as well. And then finally, also a good question to ask yourself is, like, does it trigger any of the 4 primary drivers why people share? And this is not like necessary, but it does make it so much easier. And just to remind you, and we talked about this earlier in this course, of the reasons why people share. People share either for someone else, for myself, for we, or for them. So it's always good to ask that to yourself, like, hey, is this actually hitting any of those things? At least one of those things, that would be perfect, because that will make it a lot easier for people to actually share it with their friends. So those are some of the common made mistakes that I've been seeing happening regarding the incentives. And with that having said, I'll see you in the next video. All right. Let me go back and do another video right after this one. I think the next one is going to be interesting, because yesterday I got some questions and I've actually implemented that in the next video, which is how to target a specific audience, right? It's always good. And by the way, just so you guys know who are live here, what I'm going to do actually, let me just, like the next video I'm going to record right here live. The video after that you actually see, I'm not sure if you can actually see it. I added this sign right here, which means this video I'm actually going to record on my computer later on, because I cannot do that while I'm live. So that means that I'm going to do one video, then I'm going to skip a video. I'll do that this afternoon somewhere, or tonight or something. So that will be added into the course, into the dashboard. So that's not going to be today here live. I wish, but unfortunately I cannot record my screen while being live. My whole laptop crashes. So I'll do that after. So we're going to do one video now, and then I'm going to skip one, and then we're going to do the key takeaways of this section, and then we're going to dive into the next section, right? Because I want to finish 2 modules today. Right now we're 1 hour and 50 minutes underway. So yeah, let's just dive into the next one. Let's keep on going. Are people, by the way, one thing I would like to know, are people asleep or are you still here? So if you are still watching and not just have it on somewhere on the background, give me a yes so I know I'm not talking to myself, right? Because I know this is an awkward time for a lot of you people. So for those who are here, respect. But just so I know I'm not the only one here, let me know in the actual chat. I'll wait a little bit to make sure I'm not all alone. This is so awkward. Like, I'm not sure if any of you tried this, but like recording something live, and all I'm doing is like, I'm standing here, you know, as you can see, talking to a camera. I mean, it doesn't get more awkward than that. A grown man talking to a camera, how awkward can it be? So the least I can do to get some comfort is knowing that there's some people on the other end of the line are watching this grown man who's talking to himself. And a lot of people are doing that. Awesome. It's good to see that people are still listening and got. All right, awesome. I appreciate that a lot, actually. Cool. In that case, let's just keep on going. I appreciate it, Cluevo, as well as Barginder. Cool. Appreciate it a lot, actually. Let's dive into the next one. It's going to be a little bit more creative, I would say. Take a quick sip of water. This is going to be the video to target an audience. Boom! All right. I'm just going to do a quick check, by the way. Yeah, it's fine. All right, let's get started. As mentioned before, like the main goal of all of this is to actually grow your business. And that only happens if we get the right people into your campaign. If we get the right people who down the line may be interested in joining you as a client, like would be subscribing to your business or whatever you have to sell as a business, right? So how do you actually do that? How do you make sure you attract the right people into your campaign? That's what I want to go into in this video. And actually, the way I structured this video is I've gotten various questions from people that I want to go one by one. And some of them, they have overlapping answers, as you will notice. But the four questions I really want to answer, the three questions I really want to answer is how to avoid freebie seekers. That's something that some people asking, like how do we actually avoid that? Secondly, how to target a niche group of professionals in a specific industry. Let's say you really want to go for like a specific industry in B2B. How do you attract these people? Because sometimes it feels hard to get those people, right? And the third one is how to attract the right person. So those things I want to go into in this video. And as I mentioned before, the reason why I put that in this section of the course is because this is largely decided based on the incentive that you're going to give away. Whatever you are promising to your audience, whatever the thing is that you're going to give away, decides who is going to actually sign up, who is going to be interested in that thing. So you want to make sure that whatever incentive you have is in line with your end goal of who you want to attract. Now the first question I want to answer is how to avoid freebie seekers. And in a way, the way I see it, freebie seekers don't really exist, right? And I want to explain that to you. So first of all, what is a freebie seeker? So there are people online that they just want to join a lot of these contests and giveaways, and they enjoy doing that and hoping they would win something. And they're known as freebie seekers. But like I said, I don't really believe in freebie seekers, because even a freebie seeker is not someone who's just, they may be seeking for freebies, but even those people, they buy things, right? It's not like someone who's a freebie seeker, they don't buy anything, right? They go to shop, they buy stuff online, they do all of that, right? However, they may not be interested in the thing that you have to sell, but some of these people, they are going to be interested. If you solve their problem, then they still may be willing to actually buy a product. However, there's still obviously a lot of people online who are, they're just, trying to join these kind of campaigns, hoping they would win something. And those people who are not actually making a purchase, they can still help you grow your audience, right? They can still help you get the word out, to get the right people into your campaign. And and what some people ask me is like, all right, but now I got a lot of these people joining my campaign, but what if they don't make a purchase? Well, the way I see it, it's really a numbers game. And this goes for anything that you do in marketing. So for example, if we would zoom out from UpViral for just a second, and I would look at a different part in my business. For example, our Facebook ads, right? We have people, we are targeting people on Facebook with our ads, and we know that they're very specific. They're interested in our product or service, potentially interested in our product or service. And then we run an advertisement, and they can then opt into our page. They can enter their name and email address, right? And we know these people are interested, like we have the problem that we solve, but it doesn't mean that all these people are also going to buy, right? It's really a numbers game. We know that from all the people that are signing up, entering their email address, only a certain percentage is going to end up being a customer, right? And that's the same thing with your viral campaign. Like, it will be silly to expect that everyone who's joining your campaign would be potentially interested in your product. It's a numbers game, right? I would still, you want to have it as targeted as possible, but still most people are not going to buy your product. Like only a couple of % are going to buy your product, and that's what's going to make the whole campaign worth it, right? So that, like, my answer to that's really like, I wouldn't worry too much about freebie seekers. However, there is a good way to qualify your audience, right? And you can do that in two different ways. You can either ask the question up front or do a survey afterwards. And I just want to explain that real quick on my whiteboard. All right, so this part is going to be cut out. I'll just switch this for the whiteboard. In this video, guys and girls, I'll be switching between the screen and the whiteboard a few times, probably, because I just want to make sure that I actually explain it clearly. Oh, and obviously this part is going to be cut out for the course, right? It's just going to be like, all right. Is this one doing it? Yeah, that one works. So let's say this is your viral campaign, right? And my apologies, this one is not good. I'll just start over. Yeah. So let's say this is your viral campaign and you would collect their name and email address on the first page, right? And then after that, they go to the share page where you then have the incentive and actually get them to share, right? There's the unique invite link and share buttons and whatnot, right? And there's two good ways of how you can actually add some filter on top of it, right? And the first way is to add a extra question right here, right? You can add a qualifying answer, like for example, a drop down of where they need to answer a certain question based on which you know whether they actually, whether it is a potential someone for your campaign. So for example, maybe you only want to have people from a certain city or a certain postal code, right? You can ask that right here. Or maybe you only want to have people who are interested in a certain thing, or maybe only people who are actually an entrepreneur. Then maybe you want to say like profession, entrepreneur, student, I have a job, whatever it is, right? This way is one of the ways you can actually qualify people. And in another video, I'll actually show you on my screen how to actually set that up. It's actually really easy. That's one of the qualifying ways. Another thing you can do is instead of this, is just let everyone opt in, right? But then on the thank you page, you can also add something called custom actions. And this means that on top of actually letting people share the link and getting their friends to opt in as well, you can give points and you can incentivize other actions as well. For example, an incentive to take a survey, right? So this is a survey. So you would have a survey on a third-party tool. You would actually set it up and you would then say like, hey, if you answer these questions, then you will get, for example, 3 more points. And this is super powerful. Like in one of the case studies, you'll see that we got a customer who used this to qualify their audience. I'll talk more about that in just a little bit. And he did over $300,000 in revenue from that survey. So that's really, really powerful. Again, that you'll find that in the case study section of this course. And in one of the next videos, I'll show you on my screen how to qualify either using the question up front or the survey afterwards. All right, going back to the television now. Ta-dum, ta-dum, ta-dum. Just putting it back here. I think like that would work. Another question that I've been asked is, how do you target a niche group of professionals in a specific industry? And I actually wanted to keep that question in here because this is a real good Another question I've received is how to target a niche group of professionals in a specific industry. And the reason why I wanted to put that question in here is because it actually allows me to explain various methods that you can use, as in, like, sometimes some campaigns are just easy, right? If you have a super social business to consumer market, you can do a sweepstake and you can get results fairly quickly, right? However, sometimes they're just more targeted, they're just more challenging, and you have to be more creative in order to get the right people into your business. And that's why I think this question, it's a perfect one to answer, because that will help me show various methods that you can use. And it doesn't mean that this specifically answers your question or this specifically is for your business. However, by showing these methods, I'm hoping that I'm inspiring you for various ideas of how you can leverage this into your business with to target your ideal audience, right? So how to do that, right? Because a follow-up question I got from that is like, what if they don't want to share with their competitors, right? And personally, I like to believe that a lot of people, that's not a big of a deal, but obviously it's a fair objection, right? Like if you are targeting a B2B, business to business market, like would they be willing to share whatever your campaign is with essentially their competitors if you are trying to go after their competitors in a way? And that's a really good question. So I worked on 3 different options. So sorry for that. So I got 3 different options to answer that question. The first option is to increase the value they will get. Because when I had come on, Poco, be sharp. Sorry, Joffrey, our video editor. And I had the same doubt when I was starting off with the tweet lead case study that you'll see in the case study section as well. Like, would people even want to share this? And what I've learned over time in my own campaigns as well as from our clients is that if it's valuable enough, then all of a sudden they don't mind as much to share with other competitors, basically. Like if it's very marginal and they're like, I don't really want to have it, they're like I'm not going to send this to my competitors. But if they really want to have it, then all of a sudden they don't mind as much, right? So that's a first sort of low-hanging fruit option to really increase the value of what they would get. However, there's other more smarter ways to handle it as well. And the second option is to throw a wider net, right? Because ideally, yes, we would only get, in this case, these specific B2B people, like the business owners basically, right? But sometimes it's just very hard to just get those people. So in that case, what you can do, it makes just sense to throw a wider net. So instead of just going after a specific audience, go after the people around them as well, right? And when doing that, it's recommended to qualify them. Now, I was too faster. And when doing that, it's recommended to qualify them as well. So how do we do that? Well, I think it's best explained with a quick example, right? So let's say you want to target business owners who own a restaurant owners, right? But it may be difficult to just get restaurant owners to actually share. It's not like it's not easy to get a restaurant owner and say like, hey, share this, but only share it with a restaurant owner, right? So it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be tough, right? So instead, what you can do, throw a wider net and say like, you know what? I'm not just gonna target restaurant owners. I'm gonna target restaurant owners plus one circle around it. Who are that? The clients of the restaurant owner, right? So now all of a sudden, it's going to be a lot easier, right? So now you can do a contest, for example, where people can win, for example, a VIP dinner or something like that in their favorite restaurant, while like if they win, that favorite restaurant is going to get a makeover or something awesome that those people will do for their restaurant, right? Because a lot of people, they go to a restaurant and they have their own like favorite kind of place, and you know, if besides them winning something for themselves, they also help the restaurant owner, right? So now you're targeting the clients, right? But rest assured, like if you're setting it up like that, like there's a good chance that people, the business owner themselves, are going to be included as well. Now, obviously, when you're doing that on the lead capture page, you want to qualify them, right? So perhaps, for example, and once again, I'll show you that on my screen later on in this section, is what you can do is like add a question like, hey, are you, like for example, what is your favorite restaurant? You can ask that first. And then secondly, like, are you the owner or are you a client there, right? Like just a simple drop down, and people can actually select that. Most people are going to be clients, 100%. Right? But some of them, they're going to be the owner, and then you can actually reach out. Plus, you'll get a lot of clients actually talking about like which business you actually have. So sometimes it's fine if you just get the people around it instead of your target audience, but then you can reach out to that restaurant and say like, hey, we got like 30 people who actually said that you are their favorite restaurants, and you have actually a connection to actually get into their business, right? You can actually do something with them, but that's a different kind of idea. And optionally, what you can do is on the thank you page, you can say that whomever wins, whoever invited the restaurant owner that wins will also win. So if John Doe, they're like a client, right? And they would actually invite Peter, which is the owner of the restaurant, and then Peter actually wins, the restaurant owner wins, then the person who did that actually wins as well. I hope that makes sense, right? So the point that I'm really trying to make here is that sometimes it's just like through social sharing, it's too hard to go for a specific section of the market. It's too hard to only get those people. And it's not going to be realistic to qualify those people like, oh, I'm only going to get those people. So in that case, it's fine to throw a wider net, right? Get more people to join, but have some kind of a selection, which could be with the drop down on the lead capture page or with a survey on the thank you page, as I will show you on my screen as well. So this is going to get more traction, but it's going to be less targeted, right? But sometimes that's a good trade-off to make. So that's the second option that you have. And thirdly, give them other reasons to share. It's always a good thing. Like if it's really the issue in a certain market that they don't want to share because they don't want to share with their competitors, then it's always good to ask yourself, all right, so if they are not doing it for the other person, in this case, the competitor, what other motivations could they have to share? And could we actually cater for that, right? So to answer that, let's go back to the 4 primary drivers why people share. For someone else, for myself, for we, or for them. Which of these things can we actually leverage? So for example, if they don't do it for someone else, if the objection is, well, I don't want to share this with my competitors because I don't want to help them out. Let's say that is the case, right? So what other motivations would they have, right? For myself, well, what you can do is you can actually add a leaderboard, which is a feature of UpViral as well, so they can actually battle against their competitors, right? So now it's going to be public, right? Now it's going to be like, it's not just about sharing and to get something, but now it's about, right, who is in this little world, in this little niche market, who is going to be the king of the hill, basically, like who is going to be the number one on the leaderboard, and they'll see on the leaderboard where they're at. And that's something that's really, really powerful, to let people compete for the number one spot. That's a potential thing you can do. For we, obviously, as well, right? So you can also make clear that even if people don't really want to share to their competitors, right? But if you're making clear that both of you're going to get something, right? If you, for example, if someone else wins, you will win as well, as an example, then all of a sudden, it's not just not just doing it for them, and it could be something for we, like as a connection, right? Like, hey, if you join as well, then we both win. Like it's good for both of us. And that goes back to the we, like we're doing it to work on a relationship between me and that other person, or for them, right? You can also add a good cause that's more important than just me or you. Because if I'm really thinking like, but like I don't want to share this with my competitor because, you know, I don't want to help him. But if there's a good cause attached to it, right? If it's being shared and like there's a good cause because of it, like whatever it is, and you can, that was a bit shaky, right? Sorry for that. Let me just start over. I'll just start over for them because I think this was not well explained. My apologies. Another one you can do, and thirdly, you can also try to leverage the for them. In other words, to add a good cause that's more important than just me and you, right? It's only relevant to people inside that industry. So if there is something like a union or something that we all stand behind, that I stand behind, but my competitors stand behind as well, then that would be something that I would feel comfortable with to share about it, right? So you can add that to your campaign. You can maybe even work together with like a union or something in your market that would feel, well, then it's suddenly okay to share with my colleague, even though he is a competitor, but we're doing it all together, right? We're doing it for them, for the greater cause. And I know this is kind of vague and it's kind of out there, but this is something that's been working really, really well. I've seen various clients and customers use a good cause in their campaign. I don't want to say leverage a good cause for the sake of growing your business, right? Obviously, if you leverage a good cause in your campaign, for example, like I've seen people say like, hey, every single time you share with one of your friends, we're actually going to donate something to this good cause, right? If you do something like that, like obviously, like be real with your motivation and make sure that that's actually what you want to do. But that's something that I've seen work really well to get people to willing to share, because now all of a sudden, it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about the greater cause, right? And obviously you are doing a great job by actually donating to a great cause in the name of all your people. At the same time, you will actually grow your reach. So that's a very powerful thing you can do as well. Let me just Hold on a second. So in summary, if you want to really target a niche group of professionals in a specific industry, which obviously again is quite hard to do, you've got three options, right? You can either increase the value that they will get, and that's actually the lowest hanging fruit option. Like if there's enough value that they will get as a reward, they will still share it with the right people. Alternatively, you could also throw a wider net. Make sure that you don't just target the people that you really want to target, but you go for the people that they interact with as well. Like for example, their clients or people around them or their family. Like think about it, who are they interacting with? That could also be good, and just go after everyone, right? I've even seen some campaigns where people were actually going after bigger companies, right? And instead of just saying like share with everyone, they were very specific, share this with your colleagues, right? So now they had multiple people inside the same business all joining the campaign. So rest assured, the message would flow somewhere in the business and people would talk about it, and that's how they got on the inside of these bigger companies. That's obviously not something that goes super viral, but it is a way to get throughout inside bigger organizations, right? And the third option is to give them other reasons to share, such as, for example, a good cause, right? Now, to dive a little bit deeper into how to attract the right person, because so far we talked about like a very specific situation, right? A niche group inside a B2B market, but overall, like how do you make sure that that you attract the right person with your incentive, right? And the answer to that is by offering something that's only relevant for those specific people. And there's actually a real good practical example And there's actually a real good practical example that I want to talk about, and it's actually from my previous coach, Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson, he's the founder of ClickFunnels. And for a long time, for those who followed him, he has been trying to grow his audience. And a long time, he always had all kinds of products and like lead magnets and front-end products that he was selling to basically get people into his business, right? And they were all about making money online and doing online marketing and things like that. And the problem with that was like, he got a lot of people into his world, but a lot of those people, they were actually still trying to get started with a business, right? They didn't have a business yet. They weren't successful yet. And that's because he had good offers. He had good lead magnets. He said all the right things. It was all about online marketing. So yes, the things, the people that were attracted to that were people who were interested in online marketing. So on itself, he was actually doing a really good job. But you know what really changed it for him? The moment he actually introduced his 108 split test ebook. He created a book with 108 split tests, A/B split tests, to see like which were the winners of all these split tests. And from that moment, things took off for him. And the reason is because people who, like a lot of people, they may be looking for things to improve their marketing on and some marketing tricks, but everyone who is really interested in split test ebook, they're already at a certain level, right? He basically dialed in deeper into his target audience. He knew exactly who he wanted to reach. It wasn't just anyone trying to make online marketing work. It was those who actually, already have a business, or they're already doing something with marketing. They're already getting some results. And he knew that if someone has, they're just trying some marketing, they've never really done it, they would like to. Those people, they don't have the problem of split testing, because that's 3 bridges further away. Like that's way too far off. Like they're not there yet, right? But the people who are doing split tests and the people who are interested in split testing, those are the people who they already went through some phases. They already know more about marketing. They already had some results, right? And the moment he did that, it wasn't that he got more people into it, but he got a better quality people. Like they were more specific towards his problem. That, I think, is a real good example of the impact it has of what you give away as like your freebie, or in this case your incentive, to like what kind of audience it actually attracts. So the question then is really what makes your ideal customer different? Like what kind of problems does your ideal customer have that the rest of the world simply does not have. And the better you're trying to understand that, the better you'll know, like if you solve that problem, you give that thing away to them, you're gonna attract the right kind of people. And this, once again, will require some exercise, and this is all marketing 101. This is not just for viral. This has an impact on your whole business, right? This depends on like what kind of products are you selling, like what kind of people are you getting into your business, right? So that's really the main way of how to attract the right person, by making sure that whatever you give away is attracting those people, the people that you want to get into your business, right? And alternatively, as the alternative, if it's really hard to just pick those people, you could throw a wider net, as I mentioned before, and then either filter the highest potentials or do what Bunky Live did, as I mentioned as well. So what Bunky Live did, that's the case study. They had like Bunky Live, and you find this in the case study section as well. They are selling these kind of Bunky Live wooden shelters or whatever it's called. And what they do, what they're selling is not for everyone. Not everyone has the space. So it's a really specific market to go after, right? So what they did is they just said like, all right, everyone can join. They can win this thing. A lot of people are going to join. Is everyone going to be interested in actually purchasing one of those things? Definitely not. They just threw a wide net. They accepted a lot of people to come in, right? And then once they were in, on the thank you page, right? After people joined and entered the email address, they then gave an incentive to also enter a survey, right? And from the survey, they qualified who was actually legitimately interested. And they did over $300,000 in revenue from that viral campaign. So again, I highly recommend you to check out that case study. So that's another good way of like, instead of focusing too much on like getting the right people in, throw a bit of a wider net, but then filtering it out afterwards. For example, by doing a survey or by asking a certain question on your lead capture page. And I'll show you that on my screen, how to set that up. And so on top of what we already previously discussed, inside this section, I hope this will help you understanding like what impact it has of what you will create, what you're giving away, what kind of people will sorry for that. So I hope that this, along with whatever we discussed previously in this section, helps you to decide what to give away as an incentive in order to make sure what kind of people are going to join your campaign. And in case you're wondering like, all right, so I get people joining my campaign, but how am I going to make sure that people like, they're not just entering fake email addresses or like people are not doing anything of that? Don't worry about that. We got a real good way of solving that, which we're going to dive into later on in this course as well. So with that having said, I'll see you in the next video. All right, that was that video, a bit longer as you noticed. I made a couple mistakes there. So my apologies for those who are watching live. Usually I am redoing so many videos. You've got no idea. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so this is really outside my comfort zone, let's put it like that. So the next video I'm actually going to do it on my screen, as I mentioned, so I cannot do it right now. Let me just check the chat. Samir is asking, can you please focus on how we can get more clients to serve our small local businesses? Yes, 100%. So what I'm going to do, good that you're asking it. Let's see, is it, hold on. Yeah, we got that camera right here. So right now we're at the incentive secrets, right? What we're going to do right now, it's all about the incentives, and then it's all about the campaign email, and then in the growth secrets, that's actually like I figured I want to do it in a certain order. So in the growth secrets, I really want to dive deeper into like how to actually profit and how to, like, this is all about the foundation, like why do people share, what to give away as an incentive, how to set up your campaign, what to put in your pages, what to put in your emails, how to get traffic, and then this is all about like how to make sure that you actually turn it into profit, like how to actually, like I got some really cool tricks of how to actually make a profit out of this, how to make sure people actually buy your product and stuff like that. So that's going to be inside growth secrets. So if that will be tomorrow, by the way, that will not be today, just so you know. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see if there's anything else. why not invite one of your employees in to join you? We have a remote business, right? Which means that we're all over the world, and I'm the only one here, basically. So there's no one here in the local area. So if someone else would have to come in, they would have to fly in, which obviously is possible, but for this time I figured it's okay. And yeah, we probably could actually do it on, like, zap someone in online with the tool I'm currently using, which is OBS. That's not possible, but I think there should be maybe other tools. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really researched it. So, but I have people. My team should be checking the chat as well, just to see if everything is all good and no issues. Mark is there. Mark, hey. Mark is one of our team. So when you're asking for a team, as you see, he is our team. Cool. Always good to see my team here as well. Let's see. All right, next video. Whew. Well, so far we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going for the 9th video now, and it's almost 2 hours already. Time flies, eh? Time sure does fly. Well, let's keep on going. This one is going to be a quick one. So one video I'm going to skip. I'll do that one after the live call. So let's just dive in. The key takeaways. Let's do it. And that's it. That was the incentive module. And that's it. That was the incentive module. So some key takeaways that we went through is, first of all, the 3 main factors what your incentive should consist of. The rules to follow is, first of all, it should be exclusive, it should be socially accepted, and it should be valuable as well to your audience. And also, one of the things we talked about is that your incentive decides who is signing up. So really, if you want to attract a certain audience, whatever you're giving away as the incentive is going to decide who is going to join. So it's one of the more important parts of your campaign. And also, how you position and describe your incentive is just as important as the incentive itself. So even if you have something that's really, really cool, and valuable and all of that, but you don't know how to describe it, or you don't communicate it properly to your audience, they may not still want to have it, and they are not going to share for it. So it's really important that you describe it in a certain way that people want to have it and they want to share it as well. So that's roughly what we talked about in the last section. Obviously, in the actual videos that you just went through, you'll find more in-depth analysis on this. So with that having said, let's dive into your campaign secrets. I'll see you in the next module. All right, that was this one. Another module down. All right, where's my mouse? There it is. The next one is campaign secrets. Just gonna keep on going, because I want to finish the campaign secrets as well. So we have 2 modules done. Tomorrow may be longer than expected, because tomorrow gotta do 3 modules. It's gonna be a challenge. All right, let me just prepare. And we're gonna keep on going. I'll check the chat afterwards, guys and girls. Let's do it. Boom. Introduction for the campaign secrets. All right, finally, it's time to get our hands dirty. In this section, we're going to actually be creating the campaign. So far, we talked about, the overall things you need to know first, like why do people even share things online? And we talked about your incentive, what to actually give away as the bribe in order to make sure people start sharing your campaign. So right now, it's time to actually create your campaign. So in this section, we're going to dive deeper into what should be on any part of your campaign. And just so you know, the campaign's elements that we have or the lead capture page, which is the page where people actually enter their name and email address. The share page, where you actually tell them about, like, hey, if you share this with 3 of your friends, then you will actually get this and this, right? Where you really talk more about the incentive and what they should do in order to share. The actual post on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, etc., etc. What is the actual thing that will appear? the social appearance, that's how we call it, and obviously the incentive as well, right? So those are some of the campaign elements. And then the next module, we're going to talk about the actual emails to send out, right? So what I'm going to do in this section is I'm going to go first of all into the theory, so you know exactly what should be on the page, why it should be on the page, and then I'm going to dive on my computer and actually show you how to set it up as well. All right, that was that video. Just a quick intro video. Where's my mouse again? There it is. Boom. So also in this section, there will be a couple of videos that will be on my desktop. Actually, one main video which will be on my computer. As you can see, the setting up your campaign, that will be on my computer right here. So I'll do that after. Now I'm going to do lead capture. Boom. Chickawawa. Let's do it. So the first thing that someone will actually see when they join, so the first, oh, I almost forgot, sorry. Boom, lead capture page. So the first thing someone will actually see when they go to your campaign is obviously the lead capture page. The page where you're basically asking people to enter their name and email address, possibly along with more information, right? So in this video, we're going to talk about how to create the perfect lead capture page. So what's the goal of this page? Now, obviously, the goal is to clearly communicate what they can expect, right? And obviously the end goal is to get people to actually enter their email address. So yes, it should convince people to enter the email address, and also it should be shareable, in other words, trustworthy, right? Because they already see this page, even if they opt in, but they feel like the page is really shabby, it's a negative experience, then on the next page, the share page, they're going to be less likely to share. It's all sort of connected, obviously. So the impression they have, it should actually feel good. It's like, all right, cool, this looks good. I want to enter my name and email address because I want to have this thing that is being described there. So what should you actually have on your page? That's what I want to talk about. And first, let me just minimize this. And the first thing that you should have is a good headline. And that's the very first thing most people are gonna read. And this headline should make really clear like what's in it for them. It could be like problem, solution if you're fixing a certain problem, but it should definitely make sense for people who have never heard of you before, right? So I talked about this earlier on with, for example, the $50 discount coupon. If you're saying, hey, win a $50 discount coupon, it is going to make sense to people who already know you or your business or your brand, but it's not going to make sense to people who've never heard of you before, right? So win a $50 coupon is not the right thing to do. Get the world's best lightweight water sport vest at 50% off. Then even if someone has never heard of you before, they know exactly what it is. It's like, all right, this is a water sports vest. It's actually the world's best lightweight, so it's a good one as well, at 50% off. That's amazing, right? It's clear for people who've never heard of you before, right? And if you're looking for some inspiration of how to write good headlines, like there's a lot of different templates for that. But like if you are doing a sweepstake or a contest, I would go with like win and then whatever the product or service is, right? And don't just say like win a flashlight or win, but sell it to them, right? Just like I did here, like the best lightweight water sport vest. Don't just say you're gonna get a water sport vest, but like, why this one? Why is this one so awesome? But to make clear that it's something they can win, it's a sweepstake. If you're doing a sweepstake, I would definitely put that in the headline. If it's not a sweepstake, but it's a giveaway, then, for example, you could write something like how to and then benefit without pain. That's usually a typical headline that works really, really well. I'll show you how to get, I'm just going to think of something on the flyer, how to triple your Facebook ads ROI without changing any of your ads. So like that could be something that is like, hey, right, cool. And on the thank you page, it turns out that all you need to do is share with a couple of friends to actually get a full trading plus some additional benefits and like, boom, right? So how to benefit without pain. Point is a good headline that grabs the attention and it actually makes very clear what's in it for them. Why should they even care on what's on that page? Next, a clear call to action, right? So for example, win whatever the prize is, or enter for free. That's the button that goes along with it. And obviously in one of the next videos, I'll show you on my screen how to set all of this up. But the button should be clear as well, so they know that's where I'm clicking on. And by clicking there, I have a chance of winning this thing, or I'm entering this for free, right? And ideally, I would also have an image or a hero shot. In other words, if you're giving away something, or if you are raffling something, like something can be won, then make sure to have a picture of the thing that you're giving away, because people are very visual, right? So try to add an image of whatever it is you're giving away, or add a picture of the end result they're gonna get, right? Again, I keep reminding you, people don't want the hole, people want the drill. So if it's the end result that you wanna visualize, fine, but you wanna make sure that it's very visual what they will actually get by joining your campaign. And what you could possibly do is some social proof. And what I mean by that is like a testimonial from someone, to basically make it even more trustworthy and make it more clear to them, like, hey, this is really what I want to have. I mean, you could say that, hey, you're winning a lightweight vest, but what if there's also a testimonial there that says something like John Doe, obviously shouldn't be John Doe, but John Doe says, like, I've tried like 4 different vests, but none of them even come close to this one, right? That makes sure that people want to have that thing even more, right? And that makes it more likely that they're actually gonna sign up, as well as that they actually want to share for it in order to win it later on. And they also obviously should have the terms and conditions. And what I'm going to do is, below this video, you'll actually find a PDF with pre-written terms and conditions that we have written. We hired a lawyer for, so you can actually use those. And obviously you want to check those with your own local laws, because obviously every country is different. But that way you have your terms and conditions ready to go if you are doing a sweepstake, right? That's really valuable for you to add that as well. So if you're doing a sweepstake, definitely something you want to do as well. So that should be on your page. Oops. So once you start filling up your page, as I'm going to show you later on my screen, some things you want to ask yourself afterwards to make sure, like, is it actually okay? And the first question is the page clear on what people will get from it? Even if they don't know anything about you or your business, because as I mentioned way earlier in the course, we as business owners and entrepreneurs, we are biased. You know your business better than anyone else. And it's so easy to fall into the trap of like, yeah, of course they want to have this because, you know, it's awesome. But someone who's never heard of you before, better yet, your avatar that you should have created earlier on, are those people, are they actually going to be interested just by reading that page, just by seeing that page, not knowing anything else, right? And also, is this something that your ideal customer is actually interested in? Again, cross-check it with your avatar. Place yourself inside your customer audience. Like, hey, is this actually something that, if they've never heard of me before, are they going to get excited about it, right? It's not always easy to answer, but again, the avatar that we talked about earlier in this course definitely does help, right? And also, thirdly, like, sorry for that. And also, like people who are, and also people who will, come on, Wilco. And also, people who will be interested in this, will they be your ideal customer? This is something we talked a lot about in the last section as well, but I just want to stress this out and point out this even further. So for example, like my ideal customer may be interested in winning an iPad. So you may think like, hey, I got an iPad on my screen, I'm giving away an iPad. So, you know, my ideal customer maybe also wants an iPad. But the reverse is not true. Like someone who is interested in an iPad isn't necessarily my customer. So I hope that makes sense. So whatever you're giving away, even though your ideal customer may be interested in it, does that mean that like, is it only your ideal customer that's interested in it? That's really my point. And again, we dove deeper into that. And again, we dove deeper into this in the last section, the last module. So no need to go very deep on this right now, but that's really something that I want to keep hammering, because again, we are starting all of this to grow your business, and we're not just doing it to get a random list of people joining your campaign. The real goal is to get you more clients, and that's why I feel that's important. So ask yourself, it's like, is this going to attract people who I want to do business with? And to make things more concrete, I figured to go through a couple of examples as well and sort of talk about what's happening here, right? So right here, for example, you see a lead capture page where the title is "Win a Day of Shopping at the Colonel Christmas Market." Like right away, it's like clear like what it is. They can win something and what you can win as well. 2 golden tickets to be won, like they make it feel even better. It's not just any tickets, it's golden tickets, right? I want to have one of those. Right, but how valuable is that? Well, each golden ticket is valued at around $500 and gives you prizes from 10 different stalls. Wow, right? They're really doing a good job on like, I want to get this, right? Enter your name, email, and in their case, they wanted to have their phone as well. Plus, they had some additional text on the side to explain in more detail what it's all about, right? Here's another example. The Groove Fest, they had more questions that they asked, and again, a real clear picture of what you actually get. Enter to win a free Groove Fest, right? Again, they added the value as well to make clear what it actually is, right? And what they did on the opt-in page is they actually explained already, share this giveaway to increase your odds. In other words, people would already know up front that they could share and then also increase their odds, which is always a good thing. Here you see one of my examples that I had in the past. Join the Ultimate Marketing Contest plus free Facebook ads ebook. This is a poor headline. Yes, back then I personally created this, but looking backwards, I learned lessons over time. Because right now it's really join the Ultimate Marketing Contest, but like what's in it for them? It's not clear what's in it for them. It's not clear at all, right? And here again, to celebrate the launch of the Uncensored Growth podcast, we're giving away a best stuff away for free. Well, it's kind of like saying that they're going to get something for free, but it's not really making it clear, right? And knowing what I know now, I would never have created this page. And I wanted to show you this example to show you that something like this, like if, let's say you wrote something like this and then afterwards you ask yourself like, hey, is it really going to be clear what's in it for them? And the answer is clearly no. And if the answer is no, then try to rewrite it and try to make it more clear. Here's another example from TweetLead, which you'll find in the case study section as well, where I said one-click sign-up buttons inside your tweets impossible. Well, think again, and it's free too. And I actually had an animation, like a video that showed exactly what it was. So in this case, even though the headline didn't say what they would get, the page itself made it very, very clear because I had a animation. Yeah, it was a little GIF animation that made it like very clear. Unfortunately, you cannot see that here on my screen right now, but you'll see that in the case study video. So this one definitely made it clear. So these are just some examples of what you can put on your lead capture page. Again, in another video, I'll show you exactly how to put it all inside your UpViral campaign. So with that having said, I'll see you in the next video. All right, that was that. I have to be honest, for those who are live, I feel I can do a better job. Sometimes I made a couple mistakes, which I should not have, but maybe I'm too hard on myself. I don't know. Obviously, it's been 2 hours already, over 2 hours. So, I need to. Anyway, let's not stress out. The share, I'll just keep on going to keep the pace up, right? Just keep going. Just like Finding Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Sorry for those who are laughing right now. I'm a crazy Dutchie, I can tell you that. I'm going to talk about what to put on the share page. The theoretic parts of it. Just checking if it's still recording. All recording, good. So once people have entered their name and email address, they are going to be redirected to your share page. And that is where, hold on. Boom, almost forgot. So the editor knows where to look for. So once people have entered their name and email address, they'll be redirected to your share page. So that's the page where you will basically say like, hey, you know, you can get this incentive if you get 3 of your friends to sign up, or hey, you can increase your odds of winning if you get your friends to sign up as well, right? And that's what we call the share page. And in this video, I want to talk about that page, what to put on that page. And obviously the primary goal of this page is to get people to share, your campaign on whatever network you want, like Facebook, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, etc., etc. Now, how do we actually increase the willingness to share that we spoke about earlier on, right? So the first thing that I think is quite important is that the page should generate trust. Like if if it looks like, I don't know, some lame casino website that's just super dodgy, obviously people are not going to share, right? So it should at least generate some trust, which, for example, can be done with testimonials if you have any, or if you're being featured on, or it just should just look good. And obviously, if you already have a brand, if you already have a name, then people will know that you already have some trust as a brand. And also, if something is too good to be true, like if it all looks super dodgy, and you're gonna say like, hey, all you need to do is share, and you will get a Ferrari. Like, if it's too good to be true, people not gonna trust it, obviously. And again, don't give away a Ferrari, right? So the page should generate trust, like it should look good, right? Also, on this page, you should really sell the incentive, sell the reward. And we spoke about this in depth in the last module as well, because you really want to make sure that people really want to have it, right? Make clear why it's valuable for them, and make clear that it's exclusive. Really, really important, because it's not just about the incentive, it's also about how you describe and how you position the incentive. And explain the benefit of sharing clearly, that they'll know exactly, all right, 3 people invited, access, basically, right? So they should know like what they need to do. People need to be told what to do, otherwise they will not follow through. So you need to say like, hey, share this with your friends, and then if you actually get 3 of your friends to subscribe, you will get access to this awesome thing. So what do you actually put on your page? Again, we start off with a headline, right? The first thing that someone is actually going to read. And this should explain what the page is all about. So for example, it could say, increase your chances to win XYZ, the thing that you're going to give away, the thing that they can actually win. Or share with your friends to get free access to X, Y, or Z. Like the very first thing that people see, it should communicate what the page is all about. Don't try to hide it, like make it really clear. Like if you share it with your friends, you will get something of value. You'll increase your odds of winning, or you will get this awesome thing. Right? And then what I personally always like to do is a sub-headline, which explains it in a bit more detail. So for example, get 3 of your friends to sign up with your unique link to get free access, right? So they know exactly what it is, right? 3 friends, unique link, so they know it's like, I need to use that invite link so that people actually sign up to get free access. Or get 20 additional entries for every friend who signs up with your unique with your unique link, right? As an example. So the sub-headline really supports the main headline. It just explains it in a bit more detail. And the main headline, the reason why we don't put all this information in the main headline is to just keep that one a bit shorter, so that it's easier to grasp and easier to read by your audience, right? And then obviously we'll have the unique invite link, as well as these social buttons, right? So like the share buttons to share their invite link on, for example, Facebook, on WhatsApp, and all that. And really, which buttons to enable depends on your market, right? So for example, if you're more B2B, I would highly recommend you to use LinkedIn. However, maybe if you're not on B2B, then maybe LinkedIn doesn't make as much sense. But one thing I do want to share with you is that the one-on-one mediums often work really, really well. So like Messenger and WhatsApp, because these days, more and more people are sharing things one-on-one with people, right? And even though it may not be as mass medium, but usually people will know exactly like, hey, this thing that I want to get, like this awesome thing, like I got 3 friends who would be super interested in this, right? This is like perfect for them. So they would share it one-on-one with those people. They would click on the WhatsApp button, like share it with just Peter, John, and Teresa, or whatever, right? So those one-on-one mediums are working really well. And we also see that because of that, all the traffic, all the people that have been sent using WhatsApp and using Facebook Messenger, there's a much higher opt-in rate as well, because people already know, like, I'm only inviting these 5 people because they're going to be interested, right? And because of that, they're way more likely to sign up as well, and also to keep on sharing. So that's a good tip right there. Plus, what you can do on the thank you page as well is add custom actions. And that means that you can actually incentivize other things as well. Like for example, join my Facebook group, join my YouTube channel, subscribe to my podcast, and things like that. We're going to go deeper into that later on as well, but that's the social buttons. Plus, what I would do as well is additional explanation, because the headline and the sub-headline, it may not be enough, right? Obviously, probably it's not enough. People need to know a little bit more about who you are. Like, what will they actually get? What should they actually do? Like, who are you? Like, why? Like, again, it goes back to trust. Explain yourself. who you are as a business. Explain why you're doing this. Be open about that. Anything else that they should know. And you could optionally, you could do that in a video format as well. It doesn't have to be, you can just do it in text. But imagine someone being on the page, the super passionate ones, they're going to be enough, they're going to share it just after the headline and the sub-headline. They're like, yes, I want to have that. But some people, they just want to get more information and more clarity, and like, you know, all the questions they have, like, oh, how does it work? Right, so people should actually sign up. And all right, so who are you? Like, oh yeah, we're this business, we're doing this to because we believe in this mission and blah blah blah. Like, write a further additional explanation, right? And then once you've created this whole page, which again I'll show you on my screen how to set it up inside UpViral. Once you've created that page, again, there's some questions I would recommend you to ask yourself, right? First of all, is this page clear on what they need to do and why and what they will get in return after doing that, right? It needs to be really, really clear, because maybe you've been working on this campaign for a while and it's clear to you, but someone who's never heard of UpViral, someone who's never heard of any of this, are they going to understand exactly what they should do and what they will get, right? And also, is this something that your ideal customer would be sharing, right? It goes back to the avatar along with the 4 primary drivers of sharing something online. Ask yourself, like, is this something that your ideal customer would be sharing? Now, again, I wanted to go over some examples as well. So right here you see an example. Hold on. So right here you'll see, for example, the Groove share page, and they immediately say, like, increase your chances to win a free Groove Fest. Again, that's the main headline. And then the sub-headline, get 20 entries for every friend who signs up with your unique link, along with some extra information in a video as well. Plus, again, the link and sharing it on Facebook, right? Nice and easy, right? Here's one from Nicholas Kuzmich. Again, you'll find this one in the case study section as well. And they say, success. Now it's time to increase your chances of winning. Right away, they make it clear what's going to happen. Just use the link on the right to refer your friends. And every time someone uses your link and enters the giveaway, you get more chances to win. And then watch the founders of Stiletto Coffee, Kinney and Constanzo, explain the short story behind the beans and the brand and why it matters to women everywhere. So they also made sure that, like, people know a bit about it, right? In case they're not really sure. And they also added the link, want to try Stiletto Coffee now? Visit us by clicking the bag below. So they immediately got some people to their web shop. And here's the share page of Tweetlead. I said, like, want to skip waiting and get instant free access? Get 5 of your friends to sign up with this unique URL. So real nice and clean, not a lot of content, also along with a testimonial below. So people would actually get, know, and this is actually legit. So there you have it. Like I said, in another video, I'm going to show you inside UpViral of how to actually create the page. And with that having said, I'll see you in the next video. All right. How is it going? Let's see the chat. Oh, sorry, Michael, that I didn't show everything. My apologies. Let's see. Yep, someone's asking which tool. It's MindNote. Yep, it's an awesome tool, by the way. I really, really like it. All right, let's just go back to the next video. Oh. All right, the next one is points and referrals, and then we're doing the social media appearance, and then the key takeaways, because the one on the computer I'll do later. Points and referrals, let's just dive in. Cool. If you've already played around with UpViral, then you've probably noticed that there's also something called points, right? And that's what I want to go deeper into in this video, because on the thank you page, there will be certain actions that you can, if you've been, hold on, points and referrals. I keep forgetting. Sorry for that. If you've been playing around with UpViral, then you've probably seen that there's also something called points. And in this video, I want to dive deeper into the points and referrals. And the points means that what are you going to give for a certain action? So for example, let's say you add a reward and you would say, hey, the reward, you can get the reward, it will be unlocked after you get, for example, 5 points, right? And then you can also set at the points section, you can decide, all right, what action will be, how many points is a certain action worth? So for example, if you invite one of your friends every time someone signs up, that's worth 5 points, for example. Or for example, if you share this message on Facebook, it's worth 1 point. Or if you, let's say you use a custom action and you say like, hey, join my Facebook group, that's worth 2 points. In other words, you can actually, people can unlock and get more points by doing various actions. And because of that, they can unlock the reward that you have set up, or they can increase their chances of winning, because every point is also a chance of winning your sweepstake, right? And in this video, I wanted to dive into how to set up the points. In another video, I'll show you actually how to actually set it up on the screen, but I wanted to share it some things more on a strategic level right now, because by the way, for those who are live, I'm going to talk about a feature that is not live in UpViral yet, but it's going to be live. So because the course is going to be for after, so it's right now you can only add rewards on a points base, but soon you can also add rewards on a referral base. So you can say like, hey, you can decide between those. So if any of this doesn't make sense as an existing UpViral user, that's because that's coming, right? I just wanted to let you know. So one of the things that's good to realize is the difference between points versus referrals, right? So a point is, like I just described, it's really just a point, but a referral is how many people have actually signed up. So what you can do is, for example, you can create a reward where you say like, hey, this reward, you need to get 5 points to actually get, which they can do by, for example, joining your Facebook group or sharing your message on Facebook, etc., etc. However, you can also add rewards which can only be unlocked by getting a certain amount of people, a certain amount of referrals sign up as well. Let's say you add a reward, say like, hey, you need to have 3 referrals for this reward. The only way to get it is if they actually get 3 of their friends to actually sign up. That's the first thing I wanted to make clear. Now, let's say you want to run a sweepstake, right? Again, every point is going to be a chance of winning a reward. So let's say you have 100 people in your sweepstake and everyone has just 1 point. And it means that everyone has a 1% chance of winning, right? Now, what you can obviously do is you can say like, hey, we have this sweepstake going on, and once you enter your email address, you will get 1 point for that. So you have a chance of winning right after entering your email address. And then you can increase your chance of winning by inviting your friends over, right? Now, what you could do, which is not recommended, is say, all right, so every single time one of your friends signs up, you will get 1 additional entry in the contest. And the reason why that's not recommended is because someone may be thinking like, all right, so I get 1 additional entry in the contest. However, if I invite my friends over, I also have more competitors, right? The more people know about this sweepstake, the less chance I actually have, right? So how do we fix that? Well, the real good trick for that is to, instead of just give 1 point for an additional entry, give a really high amount of additional entries. So for example, hey, if you join, you enter your email address, you get 1 point. However, every single time one of your friends signs up through your unique invite link, you will get 20 additional entries, right? And now all of a sudden it's like the perceived value of that is way more, right? Because now I got 1. If I invite 5 of my friends, I suddenly got 100 extra additional entries in the contest. I got a way bigger chance of winning, right? And it doesn't cost you anything. There's nothing, you're not rigging the system or anything like that, but the perception is that it's a no-brainer to start sharing, right? So if you're doing a sweepstake, my recommendation is to give people 1 entry if they join your campaign, but then give them, for example, 20 additional entries every single time one of their friends signs up. And that's a real good motivation for people to like, hey, right, this way I can, you should definitely share this with your friends, because the amount of the odds are going to be in your favor, basically, right? So that's if you are running a sweepstake. Now, if you'll be running a giveaway, it may be tempting to say like, hey, if you get 20 of your friends to sign up, you will get this thing. But I'll tell you what, 20 additional interests. But I'll tell you what, 20 friends to sign up, that's really, really hard. And there's not that many people that are going to be able to pull that off, right? So my recommendation is to set something that is super doable, right? So somewhere in between 2 and 5 entries as your first reward, right? My sweet spot is 3 invites. So as soon as you invited 3 of your friends, right, that's when you will get something for free. And by using the number 3, it's very much achievable. It's very much doable, and they're probably going to be more inclined to actually do it compared to like when they see 20 friends. How am I going to do that? Like, that's way too hard, and I need to hassle all my friends, and then because of that, they don't even do it, right? So my suggestion would be to go for something between 2 and 5. Usually 3 has been my sweet spot. I've also had lots of success with 5 invites. And obviously what you can do is you can have multiple rewards, right? So even if you have a reward which can be unlocked at like 3 referrals, as soon as 3 of your friends have been signed up, but then you can have an additional reward saying like, awesome, right now you've got this reward unlocked. Let's keep sharing. So we have another one. If you invite 10 of your friends, you will get this amazing extra thing as well, right? So you can always have multiple rewards so people have a reason to keep on sharing. And as mentioned as well, you can also add a custom action on your page or multiple custom actions. So for example, you can get people to subscribe to your YouTube channel, join your Facebook group, subscribe to your Messenger bot, subscribe to your podcast, check your website, or install an app. And again, in the next video, I'm actually going to show you that on my screen, how to set all of this up as well. So with that having said, I'll see you on my screen in the next video. So now we're going to go into the next video, which is going to be a screen recorded video. Hopefully that did make sense. For those who are live, like, did the points of referrals, I'm not sure if I made it complete. I did my best job there. Maybe I need to explain it better or re-record it. But basically, with a soon to be released feature, you can add multiple rewards, like one can be unlocked based on points, but you can also have rewards that can be unlocked based on referrals, right? So it's really, you can say like, hey, it doesn't really matter how many points you have, but you need to get 3 of your friends to sign up. So that's a really cool feature of UpViral soon. Not there yet though. Cool, all right. Made a mistake here. I told in this screen everyone that in the next video see on my screen, but the next video is the social media appearance. I know how to fix that. Well, all we're gonna do is write this. We're just gonna do this in reverse order. I'll just put, oh no, not like that. I'll just put this one after it. Because in this video that we just recorded, I'm saying like, hey, we're gonna go to my screen, but obviously this video needs to be recorded as well. So we just put this one first in the dashboard, that's fine. And that's a good example of like, nothing is perfect, making mistakes, but at least taking action. That's always an important part. So we're doing this video now, social media appearance, and then right after the key takeaways. And then it's done because it's been 2.5 hours, so wow. And I need to record more videos as well, obviously, after, like the screen ones. So let's just get started. Boom. Once people start sharing your campaign on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or wherever else, obviously on the social media networks, there's going to be an image and a title. In other words, the message that appears there, the message that other people will see and will be able to click. And that's what we call the social media appearance, right? And in this video, I want to talk about what is a good social media message, right? Because the goal of this message is obviously to get the attention of the right people to take action. Let me repeat that. To get the right people to take action. Because you can also create an image that just stands out with a monkey dancing in a naked shirt, whatever, like something weird. It would grab the attention, but it would not grab the attention of the right people. So that's really important. Like, we need to create something that gets the attention of the right people, right? So yes, the image and the text should stand out, but it should also be very clear what it is about, right? So let's say you're doing a sweepstake, then on the actual social media appearance, I would already make it so super clear that they can win something and also what they can actually win. So that it's not like, hey, you can win something, and they need to click on it. And then it's like, oh, but I'm not interested in that, right? So on the social media appearance, it should be clear right away what they can actually win. So if you're running a sweepstake, I would create a title saying where you literally say win whatever they can win, right? And then again, what it will do for them, like not just, hey, win, you know, a remote control. No, win the thinnest remote control for your camera that will make every shot perfect, something like that. Like, obviously that's too long, but you get the point. It should be compelling to actually want to join, but it should also be clear that they can win something, right? And then also show an image of the actual product or the result of your product. It's important as well. Or if you're running a giveaway, something like get free access to XYZ, and then again, show the product or the actual results. Now, again, I think it's more practical if you see some examples. So I wanted to go through some examples as well, so you actually have an idea as well, right? So right here you see this one where it says like win a Colonel Christmas Market shopping voucher, right? So right away it's very clear on what it actually is, and it's also in line with what is on the actual opt-in page, right? So that if people click on it and you're using almost the same language on your opt-in page, people are going to be more inclined to actually opt in, because it's not like, hey, all of a sudden it's something different. It's the same experience. So if you can use the same text on your opt-in page versus your social media appearance, it's highly recommended. Right here you'll see an image right here, impact vest with speakers, right? So it's a text on the actual image. You'll see the product being used, right? So the product, but also what it actually does, right? With some music icons right here, and another text, join a giveaway for a chance to win a GrooveFest $250 value. So really clear what it's about. It's visual, like everything's clear. Plus they even added in their own logo, because at the end of the day, it's all about making your brand known, right? And this is what we used for the tweet lead one. It was in the actual image, what actually showed exactly what it did. Add one-click sign-up bonus to any tweet, and it's free, right? Really clear what they would actually be able to get if they would join. And here's a campaign that I recently did where I said the right way of creating automated emails that sell, free 3-day event. So I hosted a 3-day event where they could actually where people could actually join, and I made clear what it actually was as well. Now, on top of that, in case you want to have more inspiration for any of your social media appearance messages, I actually got a little bit of a trick for you, because at UpViral, you can actually use your own custom domain, right? You can have everything on your own domain, including your referral links, or you can use it on our domain, which is upviral.al. And if you would search for that URL on Twitter, you would actually see a lot of people who are sharing campaigns on that URL. So again, if you search on Twitter for upviral.al, you would actually find a bunch of different social media appearance messages from other people's campaign. So that's a good way to get more inspiration as well while you're working on your social media appearance. And I'll see you in the next video. All right, that was that. Whew, my voice is about to go. Last video, I'll just keep on going right now. I'll tell you what, usually when I record videos for a course or anything like that, I do like 4 videos, right? And that's when I stop. So this is good because I get a lot of videos done. Plus it's fun to do it all live and have people interacting and all that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this last video now. Then I'm going to go back to the questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them right now and I'll answer them right after this video. Deal? Cool. All right, so that's the beginning of your campaign, right? So far we talked about like what should be on your lead capture page, what should be on your thank you page, your social media appearance, and also I showed you how to actually set it up inside your UpViral account. And with all of that, it's really important that it's all clear, that your audience, if they come to your lead capture page, that they know what it's all about, what they can win, what they can get, and what they need to do on the share page, right? And while doing that, really start with the end in mind. Like keep thinking every single time, and yes, I'm hammering the same thing over and over. What is your end goal? Because if you know who you want to target, if you want to know who you want to get into your business, it's going to be easier to make sure everything is in line with that. Now, obviously, this is not your full campaign, because obviously also you want to make sure that all those people who join your campaign, they're going to be added to your autoresponder. Plus, you want to leverage email to make sure that by sending out smart emails, people are going to share more often, right? So they're not just going to share once and forget about it, but also, and by using smart follow-up emails, they're going to be likely to share multiple times over the course of your campaign to make sure you get more reach. And that is what we're going to go into in the next module. I'll see you there. Cool. That was the key takeaways video for the campaign secrets. And that means I think we are done for today with the videos. So let's see, how many did we do today? Today we recorded the introduction 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, another 15 videos, woohoo! And 2 videos I need to record right after, the setting up your campaign and 2 ways to qualify the leads. So we'll do these after, but that means 15 videos down today. Yesterday I did 15 as well. So that's already 30 videos created. Now let me check the comments. Where's my mouse again? Question from Jackie, who? Wilco. Is it possible to set up different price options to report on specific topics of interest to a particular subgroup? Honestly, I'm not sure if I get your question completely. Could you, how do you mean, to set up different pricks? I'm assuming that's price options. So what you're saying, you have completely different topics and they can choose whatever they should be getting. If that's what you were after, you have multiple rewards and you can basically choose for like a sub-niche, then that's not an option, not standard, obviously. I'm thinking of a workaround. So, good question. Like, it depends on how related they are, because if they're not related at all, I would not probably do it in one campaign. But if there's like sub-niches, you could obviously say like, you could, in UpViral, you could set up one reward where you say like, hey, you're gonna get our report of your choosing, and you get the white paper of our choosing, right? And then and it could be for doctors and for dentists or whatever, right? And then once they unlock the reward, UpViral will send out an email, and in there would basically say like, hey, here's a link, like where they basically select, like using a Google form, for example, or you just give them all, right? So like, hey, for dentists, go here. Doctors, go here. Again, I don't know your exact use case, but as a standard feature, that's not an option where we have like where people can choose like, I want to have this one or that one. Like it's really on a point basis. I hope that makes sense. I hope that answers it. All right, so sleep issues, attention. The thing is that, like with the workaround, you could sort of do it. The problem I've seen in practice, every time when I did a marketing campaign, not just with UpViral, but also like if you try to sell something, whenever I tried to talk about 2 different things, the results went down. Like, because at the moment you try to talk about multiple things, like when you talk to everyone, you talk to nobody, basically. And so I would say every year or so, every year and a half, I forget about it and I'm like, no, but we could talk about 2 different things at the same time and it will make sense. And if I look at the conversion numbers, like the stats, like, and stats don't lie, stats just go down. It just doesn't convert at all. Like people really want to have one thing, like it should be clear, like, this is what it's all about. So I wouldn't go for like, if you would go for multiple markets, I would find the common thing across these things, like, but I would have it all as one message, if that makes any sense. I hope that answers your question. Whew. All right, well, that was it. I'm awesome to see that we're all here. I feel that even though the content was actually good, like we had a lot of good stuff in here, I feel I made a couple mistakes that we need to edit out. Maybe I need to redo it. So not everything perfect. All in all, I'm still happy because we did 15 videos. I'm going to do 2 videos later on today. So that means 17 videos done. We already had 15 yesterday. And then tomorrow we're going to dive into the email secrets, traffic secrets, and growth secrets, right? So good chance that tomorrow is going to be a slightly longer sessions, because right now we did 2 modules every single day, 2 yesterday, 2 today, and tomorrow we're going to do 3. So it's going to be a challenge for sure. Yeah, but I'm really excited to hoping to see you all here tomorrow. We'll go learn to talk. I'm looking forward to see you all here tomorrow again. Really appreciate it again for those who are here with me, especially for those who have been here for like, what is it, 2.5 hours. Respect, lots of respect for that. Thanks, Michael, appreciate it a lot actually. Ian, awesome, glad you're liking it. And anyone else who's here, their kids have all autism, but the top pain point is different for Jackie. What you could do, right? I'm just gonna draw it out on the whiteboard. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. I was gonna say, like, if you want to have multiple, if you really have multiple pain points, right? Like, this is a bit more technical, but like with UpViral, you can also have your own custom landing page on your own website, right? And you can just add our widget in there, right? Basically, and then from there, go to the share page. I was gonna say, but that's not a perfect solution. You can create multiple landing pages with a different problem. So problem 2, and then add the widget in there. However, the problem is that the unique invite link that's being shared will always point back to this page and not to these 2. So even though you can send people into this page, but new people are all going to go into this page, right? So if you really have 3 completely different problems with different products, but they all have autism, either I would go for one of those specific segments, or I would really try to find an angle that would speak to all them, because you said, like, I'm not in that market at all. Lucky enough not to have not to know anyone with autism, like, not that there's anything wrong, but I just don't know anything about it. So I would try to look for ways for like a message that would appeal to all 3 of them. If I have another idea about it, I can't promise. If I do have another idea, I'll talk more about it tomorrow. But yeah, it's a good question. But yeah, thanks for all the messages, Frank, Daniel, Ian, Michael, Clive, and all the others as well. I want to thank you all for being here. See you all tomorrow, same time. We're starting at 1 p.m. Amsterdam time, which is 7 a.m. New York, ET New York. And with that having said, I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks, thank you everyone. Bye-bye. Ooh, my mouse is gone again. Oh, there it is. Haha, see you everyone, cheers. See you tomorrow.